So the Conjuring Last Rites comes out on not this Saturday, next Saturday, right? September the 6th.
Well, it comes out like Friday, but
Oh, that's right. No, we're
we're seeing
seeing it September
it
the
the
6th.
6th
Yeah.
that Saturday.
And so Carly and I, we honestly weren't really that excited for it, but I've been trying to get to more movies lately and see more stuff, regardless of if I think it's gonna be good or not. Just because I don't know, I've just had a more um mind for going to see more movies and stuff. But basically, because of that, we went back and we watched all of the Conjuring, the universe, well,
The Conjuring Universe
anything from the Conjuring
movies.
universe movies. So well, I started last week, and I think I pretty much finished them all in a week. Carly, you started them like
Probably like 3
weeks,
weeks ago.
yeah, weeks before.
Um,
And
we
if we were to, we watched them in chronological order, so not the order they came out, but the order in
the timeline
yeah,
of the
that it
events that
happens
take
within the time.
place,
Yeah, right. The
which
events.
I think is probably the best way to watch it if you're going to watch it. Um, Now it's not necessary to watch it like that. If you wanted to watch all the Nun movies and then go into the Annabelle movies and then go into the Conjuring movies, it might make more sense for you in that way because you're seeing, the Nun 1 and then the Nun 2, so they flow into each other, and same thing with the Annabelle movies. But if you really want to see it in the order of the timeline and how they connect to the Conjuring movies, because obviously the Conjuring movies have Annabelle in them and also have the Nun, so that is why it's kind of important to watch them in chronological order. Also, to pretty much at the end of every movie you'll watch, it leads into the next movie. So the Nun 1 kind of led into part of the Conjuring. It's kind of hard to say exactly the scenes, but the Nun kind of led into the Conjuring, and then when you watch Annabelle Creation, it leads into the first Annabelle movie. So there's certain elements that they show scenes at the end of every movie that lead into another one. So how we watched them was The Nun is the first one you watch, and then you watch Annabelle Creation, The Nun 2, Annabelle, The Conjuring, Annabelle Comes Home, The Curse of La Llorona, The Conjuring 2, and then The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which is the most current one, and then obviously the final installment will be coming out next week that we'll be seeing, which is The Conjuring, the Conjuring Last Rite. So yeah.
Is it Last Rite or Rites?
I think it's the last. Hold on. Sorry, The Conjuring Last Rites is what it is. So yeah.
God, I'm looking at the posters right now. God, they're just so bad.
Yeah.
Like this one doesn't even look like they tried with Photoshop. And then there's one that like it looks like I got my laptop right here. Look at this. What is that?
Yeah, that's so
And
bad.
you could see like the white on its
we've
face.
gotten so unoriginal with movie posters nowadays that it's just floating heads just not even just floating heads, but they think that putting the characters' faces on a poster and then adding some little details that are within the movie make it good. And it's like, no, it actually makes it shit. And not original. This is what I don't understand is like when it comes to posters, that is the first, besides depending if a trailer releases first or not, but usually a poster is the first thing that gets released, and that is the first time you can get a sense of the movie and make an impact on your audience to be interested in it or not. So why are we creating shitty posters? Like there's so many fan-made posters out there that fans make, mind you, not trained, well maybe they are trained, but not hired as like amazing like digital designers out here making these posters, getting paid a shit ton of money to do these ugly designs that they probably took their long time on, but it doesn't look like it, and give out awful posters. But that's besides the point. We're not here to talk about the posters. We're here to talk about how dog shit these movies are in the universe.
Yeah, I was about to like say too, really, like, yeah, by the way, these movies, most of them suck.
So before we do get into this, I do want to mention one of the movies in particular. If you are wanting to watch these in chronological order, one of the movies that you do have to watch, well, you don't have to, but is technically in the universe is The Curse of La Llorona. Now, this movie is technically a standalone movie. It does not correlate to anything involved with the Warrens or, the Annabelle or the Nun movies. The only thing that connects the movies is he's a priest, right? Named Father Perez.
Yeah, who does nothing in the film.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like
there's a priest named Father Perez in the Curse of La Llorona. And Father Perez is actually in Annabelle. He plays like the main priest in Annabelle and actually handles Annabelle in a few scenes in Annabelle.
Yeah.
But he only makes a small appearance in the Curse of La Llorona. It's not really a spoiler, but he comes into it and basically just says a line of, oh, I know these two people who are into, talking to demons or whatever, referencing to Ed and Lorraine Warren. And he also mentions how he did come in contact with a possessed doll. And that is the only time you ever see him throughout the whole entire movie. People really only include it in this universe because of that particular involvement of him. You really do not have to watch this movie. And the movie is basically about a Latin American folklore of La Llorona. I'm not going to really go into detail about the whole description, but I just want to say you will be saving yourself an hour and a half of time by not watching this movie because it is our least favorite out of all of the movies and probably one of the worst horror movies we have ever seen. Can you agree with that, Scotty?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. This movie was
the whole experience of watching these movies, aside from The Conjuring 1 and maybe The Conjuring 2, this was such a painful experience for me. I don't know about you, but every movie I just felt like I was mentally in agony.
Yeah, I remember seeing, because I started, well, yeah, we started with the Nun, right? The first Nun, that was like the first one in the order we were supposed to watch. And then it was Annabelle Creation. Well, I remember when I was watching the Nun, I was like, man, I can't wait to like just talk about like the issues of this movie, because this movie is like one of the worst, like not only worst horror movies, but one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And I thought that was going to be the movie that was like, okay, this is the worst in the series. But then they just kept getting worse and worse.
Worse and worse.
So, well, Annabelle Creation was like a little bit of like it was definitely
it's
better
definitely
than
one of the better ones.
It was definitely better than the Nun. But then once I watched the Nun 2, I was like, what is this dog shit? And then like the first like I think the first like half of it was all right, but I just don't like the Frenchie guy, like the Frenchie character.
Yeah,
I think they just ruin him and they stain his name on what like, because The Conjuring is the only movie in this series that's actually great. I don't even think The Conjuring 2 is great. I think The Conjuring 2 has a lot of issues. Now, it's not like as bad as obviously La Llorona, but like
La Mid.
La Llorona.
It's not even mid, it's below mid.
Yeah. But it's like it still has issues, and it's still like what a lot of like horror movie, like a lot of like modern day like horror films, a lot of the issues they have, they originate, or not originate, but they are present in these movies, especially some of the earlier ones. But I'm just gonna call it La Lorchita, because that's what basically the movie is the movie is shit. It's not just a bad movie. This movie is dog shit. It's an abomination. I'm actually gonna go ahead and go that far, because this movie is just unfathomably bad, and I can't even believe that they greenlit this script and greenlit this kind of a movie, because I have full confidence in saying a 12-year-old could make a fucking 8-year-old could make a better movie than what they made in this. Like it's an embarrassment towards the film genre. It's an embarrassment towards the horror film genre. It's just an all right embarrassment. And I think the director should be ashamed of himself for making that. And I believe that when you're making something, especially when you're in a series that's already adapted, you should have the respect to at least try to make a good film, and it didn't even look like he tried.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just looked like he um, just put slop on a screen, and yeah, it's just I don't want this to make this video about that movie, because we could talk about that movie for hours on end, but it's just it's bad.
Well, I
But
want to
and or what were we gonna say? Go
I
ahead.
just want to first say like our order so people don't kind of like so we're not going back and
Yeah,
forth between
yeah.
the movies. We have kind of come to a conclusion of our order. We ranked all the movies from best to worst. Um so do you want me to name all of them or
Yeah,
did
it's
you want
fine.
okay.
We pretty much have like the same list,
Yeah, we
right?
pretty much have
Yeah.
the same list. So, and I do want to say some of these movies might be interchangeable because now that I'm thinking about it, some of them I might switch, one spot with the other, but whatever. So, in first place from, this list being best to worst, The Conjuring is number 1. I think we can agree to that.
Hmm.
We think The Conjuring is miles ahead of any of the other movies.
And we'll briefly talk
Yeah,
about
we'll go into each of
why that
them.
is.
We're
Yeah.
just gonna name them. So then The Conjuring is first. The Conjuring 2 is second. Um, Annabelle is third. Annabelle Creation is fourth. Now again, this is kind of I don't know about you, Scotty, but this is the position where I might switch Annabelle Creation and Annabelle. For Annabelle Creation to be higher, there's
Yeah,
certain
they both have
they're
their pluses and minuses,
yes,
but
it's
they're
just
both good and bad,
yeah.
like depending
It just
like
depends how you look at it
there's
and what you enjoy
yeah,
more or
like
what's
there's
objectively good or
right.
bad.
Well, there's things in Annabelle like 1 that did better than Annabelle Creation, and there's
Mm-hmm.
things that Annabelle Creation did better than Annabelle 1.
Yes,
So it's like
exactly.
they're kind of balanced in a way where it's like they're both the same but for
Mm-hmm.
different
But different.
reasons.
Yeah, I
So,
wouldn't be
yeah.
mad if anyone ranked either of those higher or lower than the other. So yeah, after that, and number 5 is The Conjuring: The Devil Made Me Do It, which is a stretch because we did fucking hate that movie.
I don't
Um,
think we hated it, but it just was not a good
it
movie.
was not a good movie, but
Yeah.
it made me hate it a lot more than I thought it was going to. In number 6, we have The Nun. This is me. I don't know about you. The
Hmm.
Nun 2.
Yeah, that's fine.
Number 7 is The Nun. Number 8 is Annabelle Comes Home. And number 9 of obviously is The Curse of La Llorona. And again, going back to spot 6 and 7 of The Nun 2 and The Nun, those are also interchangeably for me. Now that, again, I'm thinking about it, I'm sure if I rewatch it, I might, switch them. But I personally liked, we'll go into it. But yes, those are interchangeable. But again, starting with that list, we're gonna now start talking about them being worst to best. So we did talk about La Llorona a little bit and why we did not like it. Yeah, I just don't think it was a good movie at all.
Well, and first, before we say that, because we kind of go back and forth with Curse of La Llorona and Annabelle Comes Home.
Yes.
Because the
Yeah,
problem
say
with
what you
those
wanna
two
say about
is,
that.
like, so when we're ranking, like, all of the Conjuring movies, sometimes we'll say, okay, are we basing them off of, like, how bad they are in the universe? Or we will say, are we basing them on how bad they are of objective, like, film?
Just like as a movie.
Like, as a movie, like,
Mhm.
objective film, right? And if we were to rate them as in the universe, Annabelle Comes Home, at least I would say, takes the shit cake as the
Yes.
worst movie, because that's the movie that does the most
Damage.
towards what James Wan originally created
And the
and to the
legacy.
original Conjuring, which is
Yeah.
which is actually like a fantastic movie. But
Mhm.
we'll talk about that last because that's our best one.
Mhm.
And there's just a lot of things in that film that also are just done so horribly. I don't know what the
I don't know
hell,
what they were thinking.
like,
I
I don't
really
know who these
don't.
people are working on these films. And I know most of the people, they're just there to get paid, they're it's just, I never like blame the actors, because they're just being told what to do, right? So it's not their fault. But it's like the director, it's these people up in charge that they have this, like, I don't know if it's like this ego where it's like they feel like they have to slap their name on something and just change it
Mhm.
just to say that, hey, I made this. Or because I know that's what's happening in Star Wars and Disney and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Um, but this didn't feel like a Conjuring, or it was in the Conjuring universe at all.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
felt like a Disney Goosebumps movie that had nothing to do with with actual horror. It was an embarrassment towards
Mm-hmm.
The Conjuring, and people
People
need
don't
to
realize
realize
that.
that, because like it's not like there's some people that they might look at Annabelle Comes Home and be like, oh well, I thought that was fun. It's like, that's fine, but like here's the reason why other people are saying it's not. And like you just have to kind of try to understand like that not everyone thinks a movie's good because they made them feel good. You know,
Yeah.
just because a movie made you feel a certain way doesn't mean that that's how objectively the movie is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if by rating a movie objectively, you go by a certain basis of what makes a film, and what makes a film objectively good or bad. And it's just by that rule of, you know, of objective, you know, whether it's good or bad, this movie is dog shit, and
Yeah. It is dog shit.
it is a huge stain on the Conjuring
Mm-hmm.
name and what James Wan originally made.
Well, in the the problem that I have with, I mean, you know, my opinion on these movies. If anyone doesn't know, Scotty and I are paranormal investigators. We are a part of a paranormal team called Blood Moon Paranormal on YouTube and every social media. I tend to do the investigations more lately, but Scotty and I were actually a big part of going to the real Conjuring house a few years ago and investigating, and we actually got the full truth history of the Perrin case. And
the Perrin case was in the original Conjuring
yes,
film.
that is the original Conjuring. And if people know that real case, and I encourage people so much to do your research before you go watch these movies, because they are so inaccurate to the actual cases of what happened. And a lot about Ed and Lorraine Warren as well. I'm not going to really go into detail about the opinions on Ed and Lorraine Warren within the public, you know, currently, but a lot of people, you know, back then when they were doing their cases, a lot of people did think that they were scammers. They were doing it for money, doing it for attention. I'm not going to sit here and claim that myself, but that is what a lot of people did think. Even when you do your research on the real cases, people back then even thought that about them during those cases actually happening. But at the end of the day, they were demonologists. They were just doing what they were doing, and seeing how Hollywood has taken them to basically turn them into the most OP human beings on this planet when it comes to demons or spirits, is absurd. And I just think it's wrong to show them like that when that's not actually what was going on with them. But again, it's Hollywood. They're going to fabricate a lot of stuff. I just think that the movies show more of the Warrens, of them helping people and, you know, doing these exorcisms a lot of the time, when in reality a lot of that stuff didn't happen. So I, as someone who has a passion for this field and knows, you know, a decent amount about these true cases, these true families, even some of the demons that they so called in these movies that are not actually the demons that may or may not have possessed these families, or whatever the case is, being portrayed as, you know, a different way. We'll get into that when we get to like the Conjuring movie especially, but yeah, just a lot of it is just not fabricated on the truth. They add in a lot of things. If you guys didn't know, maybe you do, but even though Annabelle is a real doll, and the premise of her being, you know, some kind of spirit is using her as a conduit, that's true, but a lot of the lore behind Annabelle is not true, especially, you know, a lot of the like activity and haunting that you see she does in the movies. And then also the nun. The nun is literally not even a real thing. I think James Wan actually invented that in his brain to just add to the story, which at the end of the day, like, I mean, it is Hollywood. You can do what you want, but again, you can't like say something's based on a true story and then have the nun being the sole purpose of the Enfield case happening in the second Conjuring. Like, it just doesn't, it just messes with me. But I'm gonna try my best to kind of take out the truth of these movies and just kind of talk about the movies as movies and just the plots of them. So I know I just spilled a lot. We're supposed to be talking about Curse of La Llorona, but I just needed to say that. So going back to La Llorona, I don't think the problem necessarily was the plot of the movie. I think the idea of the folk lore of La Llorona is actually really interesting. I like the idea. I just don't think it needed to be part of the Conjuring universe. Again, I feel like that just shows proof that it was just kind of about money and just trying to add an addition. It was just a marketing stunt. Like there literally is no correlation to the movie besides Father Perez. Like it's just so stupid that like they even included this in its own thing. Like I truly think they could have dedicated their own like certain get a better budget through a separate thing and not through the Conjuring universe and actually made a really good movie about this, because it could have gone so creepy. And I think folklore is such an interesting thing too, you know. There's so many types of folklore around the world, and I think this is a really interesting case, you know.
It's also just disrespectful towards the folklore.
Yeah, like it's like
and the actual Curse of La Llorona.
Yeah, because people aren't. Here's the thing, though. People aren't really like when you attach the Conjuring universe to it, people aren't really watching it because they give a fuck about La Llorona. They're just they give a fuck because it's connected to the Conjuring verse somehow.
Yeah.
So when you watch it and you realize the only thing connecting them is Father Perez, you kind of aren't interested in the movie anymore.
Well, it's just the movie's not even interesting at all. Like
I know, but like it's like they only made that movie. Because they wanted to include some part of the Conjuring universe tied to it.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, Father Perez has to be in a movie, so what can we make him be in a movie for? Oh, let's just do the La Llorona. Like, it's just, like, they were, like, I just don't understand their logic in doing the movie. But the movie, it was pretty bad. The scares were dumb. It was not scary. Linda... How do you say her name? Linda Cardinelli, who plays the mom in it, Velma. I guess she was really like the only good actress in this. The only really good element of the movie was when one of her children was watching Scooby-Doo on their TV. That was kind of the only element.
Oh yeah, I thought you were
highlights.
I thought you were gonna say something. I'm like, there's nothing in this movie.
That was the only element I probably liked. This movie also takes place in the 70s. And like. Yeah, exactly. And like I was telling Scotty while we were watching it, there honestly was not many situations where I could tell that this movie was, or that this story took place in the 70s.
Yeah, if you would have never told me that, I would have, because I didn't look up the description of it, so I just watched it.
You could guess
I'm not kidding, I legit thought the movie took place today.
Yeah, you could.
But then when you told me that, I was like, what?
Yeah, you could, if I were to say it took place in the 90s, the 2000s, the 80s, maybe not the 60s, but any of those, you definitely could not tell. Like, I would have not been able to tell. The only thing, and I even said this too, the only thing that was truly 70s about this movie was their front door, because I think they have a really like 70s looking front door, and maybe their TV, but again, that doesn't say anything.
You could just say they kept the front door.
Yeah, they kept the front door since the 70s. Yeah. I don't feel like the fashion really represented 70s. I really don't even know what elements I could else mention. Like, and I feel like that's an important thing too. Especially folklore, when folklore goes back, many, many years. And you're making a movie takes place in the 70s. And I feel like when movies take place in certain decades, they have a certain vibe to them that you want to keep attention to. And I think the 70s is a very prominent time where it's very like, I don't know how to...
Maybe like the first Conjuring?
Like the first Conjuring. Yeah. Now... That also, that took place in the early 70s. It's very like... But
still, like...
It's very...
You could tell the movie didn't take place today.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's definitely a difference in a movie of how it looks taking place in the 70s versus it taking place in the 2020s or the 2010s or the
It's the
whatever.
Mannerisms and speech, too, of people. Yep, it just felt like it was today. Yeah. Like, everyone, the way they talked, the way they looked, dressed.
Everything. You could not tell at all. So that was also a problem I had with it. The acting was very subpar. I think we can also agree.
Yeah, so the fashion is the least of the worries of
Yeah,
the movie.
the fashion is
So
the least of the
one of
issues
the
here.
worst is the acting. The acting in this movie, other than Velma, is I would say in some cases worse than the original Goosebumps. Like there are some cases
That
in
was
this
even
movie.
good, the Goosebumps.
There was some cases in this movie that I was like Tuco from Breaking Bad. I don't remember his actor's name.
Raymond Cruz.
I don't even want to know his actor's name because I want to keep calling him Tuco. But he's actually like a decent actor.
Yeah, like he was good in Breaking
he was
Bad.
dog shit in this. I could have acted better, and I'm not an actor. Like, dude kept the same tone the entire movie.
Yeah,
I felt like I was watching like a parody horror movie. I felt like I was watching Scary Movie, or I was watching I forgot what the other one is called, but yeah, like a scary, like one of the scary movies. Like it just felt.
It seemed like it
the,
was
the
like his
movie
acting
felt like
was.
a parody.
It felt like it was
when he
supposed to be
came
like
in.
satire
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah, and the kids, like I mean, yeah, they're kids, so like I never hold it against them like when they're kids, but there are some good child actors. Annabelle Creation is one of those examples that phenomenal. Now she was like 14, but still, like
doesn't matter.
even
the girl,
even the other little girl.
Yeah,
like,
I think
they are phenomenal child actors,
Yep.
and they have there's option like there are kids that you can choose from that are good actors. Choose them. Don't make the excuse, oh well, they're kids. I just hate that.
I know,
bullshit,
I do
especially
too.
when you have so much money. Now this wasn't like a $100,000 budget film, I don't think.
No.
But still, it's like, come on. The boy wasn't so bad, but the girl,
yeah, the boy
you could
wasn't
tell the
so
girl
bad.
just was like trying to act, the little girl, and it's just these kinds of things take you out of it. And again, I'm not like placing the blame on the kids. It's the director and the people, the producer and the people who choose to cast these people. They should have put more care and respect in choosing people that are going to represent this folklore and this story, better. And also just the horror industry.
Yeah.
Because come on. And
it's not even also just like the acting, which I mean, yes, it's the acting, but it's also what you do with the lines. It's not just
so the writing was also
it's also the writing too. The dialogue was absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
And I think sorry, I'm going back and forth between this. I think Raymond Cruz, he was playing kind of like the Obi-Wan, but in the curse.
Tuco, you talking about?
Yeah. He played not Obi-Wan, sorry. He played the Qui-Gon because Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh yeah,
sorry.
He
played Qui-Gon.
The Jedi
yeah,
Order,
he went against
he went against
his
the church because
the church's order.
Because every single Conjuring movie, whenever you ask the church for help, they're like never there.
Yeah, they never actually want to help.
They never.
When isn't the whole point of being part of the religion is to lead people to God, but you won't do that when there's literally the worst kind of what's the word?
They'll witness the most obvious
that is probably like the top thing that you should be helped with,
a demon, and they'll just
to get closer to God.
We have to place the order in for the church to come to this house. It's like, dude,
we have to talk to the
Like,
Vatican.
get in your car and leave now.
We have to talk to the Vatican. It won't take probably about a few weeks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll just let the demon live inside me for 3 weeks and torment me and my family and everyone around me. But okay, I'll wait. Like, no.
I can't wait to see how they do that in the new film.
God. And you know what's so funny about that?
Because it's like a meme at this point.
What's so funny about that, and again, I could be wrong. Ed and Lorraine Warren did a lot of cases, but from my knowledge, Ed never performed an exorcism. He was always the kind of man who was like, let the church take care of it. Like, we need to make sure it's a priest. But you literally see in every movie that he's the one pretty much solely doing it, especially in the first Conjuring, and he never did that. So it's just like,
the first Conjuring makes sense, right? Because it's like, we don't know any history. But then in the Conjuring 2, he does it, but he makes it seem like he's never done it. And then the Conjuring 3, he does it again, but then he makes it seem like he's never done it.
Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there because that is
the same thing. Every
so
movie.
Yeah. Overall, La Llorona was pretty bad. The acting was atrocious. Again, the Raymond Cruz's character was Rafael Olvera. So monotone, didn't change his emotion in any dialogue. And I don't think that was intentional, or if it was intentional, that's just a stupid idea to do. But it was probably one of the worst acting pieces I've ever seen in a movie. But yeah, I don't really recommend this movie. I mean, if here's the thing, if you're familiar with The Curse of La Llorona, people obviously in cultures are probably more familiar with it than some other people, specifically, us.
I wouldn't even recommend
I
this
know, but
movie
if
for
you just
that.
kind of if it's something that you're interested in and you want to watch it, good for you, but just letting you know that the movie is pretty bad objectively. I just wish they would have taken this folklore and actually made it a creepy movie, but it wasn't that. So, moving on. That is why it is our least favorite, and I never want to see it ever
One
again.
other thing I want to address in Curse of La Llorona, and maybe we could make a whole video on this. Well, we definitely can make a whole video on this that would last us like hours.
Mm-hmm.
But to say like, because what else did I like just despise? One of the biggest things I just hated in that movie was how stupid they made the kids. Like, I feel like
Oh,
the
yeah.
director, whoever
Yep.
wrote these kids, I feel like I've never talked to a
Mm-hmm.
kid or seen a child in their life. Because the way the kids acted in that movie are like the complete opposite of how kids actually act. And it's
Mm-hmm.
so funny because we saw, was it The Conjuring 2 right after? And
Yeah.
it's like the complete opposite of how
Opposite.
like the kids in that movie reacted
Even, like,
compared to the Curse of La Llorona.
Even
like
in the first Conjuring was like that
oh well, yeah,
too.
no, like every other movie, like the way they have kids is like fine, right?
Yeah,
Whether
like-
it's like all right, like whether it's like a bad movie or not. But with this movie, it's like
it's like
so they do the complete opposite of cliches, which I don't like the cliche of like a child like in a horror movie like seeing something or something happening and then them telling the parents and the parents are like, oh, you're just a kid seeing things.
Yeah, that's the
like,
cliche.
I'm tired of seeing that cliche. However, I was like hoping that would happen in this movie, because anytime like the most insane thing happened to these kids, they wouldn't say or utter
anything
towards any adult. And it's like, it's not that, oh, they saw something and then like it just gets over it. These kids were literally getting like physically like assaulted or beaten or like scars on them that like almost would kill
and
them.
Stuff that
and
they weren't just seeing.
Yeah, and they still wouldn't like say anything
like,
to their mom or to like any adult.
Yeah.
And then there was that one scene
oh
where
my God, it was so bad.
there was that one scene where the one girl is in the bathtub and then the
she thinks it's her mom.
The La Llorona is like
rubbing her hair,
playing with her hair. But it's like, how the hell would the little girl not know that
her
like
mom was in the room?
No
with
one's
her.
in the room because the door's shut.
Yeah.
She's in the room alone. She didn't hear the mom come in the room at all.
Yeah.
It
or
just
see
happened,
the door open.
and she's just like totally fine thinking it's her mom, whatever. And it's like, you could make the argument, oh well, she's a kid, even a child, and she's only like, she was like 10 or something, so she has
she's
a
probably
brain.
younger than that, probably.
But
like
still,
8,
she has a brain
7.
to
Yes,
think that
yes.
any like me when I was that age, fucking, I was scared shitless of anything. So like, what?
But also, yeah, no, you're right. And then there was also the scene in the beginning when the son, basically, his mom had to go to the crime scene where they found the 2 boys dead because of La Llorona. And then she took her kids with her. The boy got out and was wandering like a little kid. That's typical, right? And then he sees La Llorona because she's now going to attach on to them. And she literally comes out of nowhere, screams in his face like a demon, and grabs his wrist, and he's burnt on his wrist. Gets back into his car, and the windows start rolling down, like, because she's doing it, right? And then the mom gets into the car. She's like, "Are you guys okay?"
And then they're just like,
we're okay.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened, Mom. No fucking kid is saying that. I'm sorry. Like, no kid is saying that. I feel like it's more realistic for a kid who's older and like a teenager to say that.
But like, even if that is the case, like, okay, you could say that, but this movie has some of the stupidest mistakes that could have easily been fixed.
It did it all the time. It did it all the time.
Like, these are like, all you have to do, listen, like, yeah, I'm going to film school, whatever. But even before I went to film school and even like heard of a film, I could have thought of the simple idea of, oh, how about you make Llorona, like the Curse of La Llorona, like the spirit. How about you just make her threaten the kid and be like, if you tell anyone of me, I'll kill you or I'll kill your parents. That would make sense why they don't fucking say anything. That is something they should have done, because that would have eliminated all of these logic flaws with these kids not saying a damn thing after the most traumatizing thing. Like,
it's just so stupid.
You watch it and you're like, did these people even have a brain when they made this? Oh, and then the mom kept noticing stuff too.
Yes.
And then she just kept like ignoring it as just like
oh my God.
And then once we watch The Conjuring 2, the mom sees like one thing
and
she's like
her
child. And she believes her child and she's like something's bad. It's like we were laughing because we're like, dude, this is the complete opposite and this is how it actually would go.
And you know what? Here's the one thing that I love that The Conjuring 2 did, and I it's not even like it honestly helps me love the movie so much more, and it is what you're talking about when the stuff keeps happening to the girls, right? The mom checks on them because they're literally screaming. I think it was when their beds were shaking or something. The mom goes in there and is like, what is going on? And then the girl was like, there's someone by the door or whatever. And then she's like, what? And then the fucking dresser just flies and slams the door. Yeah. And that's when she thinks something's going on and believes her children.
If it was Velma in the other movie, she would have probably literally thought it was like it was like a wind that did it, and she would have just kept going on. And then the kids would have just said, I didn't see anything.
Yeah,
and
I didn't see anything. It was all in my head. like that.
It's so stupid.
When that and that's the thing that I have a problem with is when stuff happens to children and the parents don't believe them. It's like, okay, they're kids, they might say shit, but come on, we're in a fucking horror movie. Like they're already seeing unrealistic things that wouldn't happen in real life. So might as well just have the parents fucking believe them. Like that's why I like The Conjuring 2 so much, is because it grabbed on so quickly to like what was actually happening. It wasn't just focusing on one character having these occurrences in the demon. Because you would think that, like, oh, a demon's not going to show itself to an adult. It's just going to show it to the kid to make the kid look crazy. That's the cliche. It feeds off the kids. It doesn't want the parents to know it exists. But this demon, because at the end of the day, it was Valak technically doing these things, or making the old man do these things. So it didn't care. It was like, I'm going to do it. Like, good luck trying to get rid of me. I don't care if you're an adult or a child. And I think that was kind of the purpose of The Conjuring 2, was to basically get the demon to, like, get Ed and Lorraine Warren, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we can theorize
We'll
that.
We'll go into that.
We'll
Again,
we're
jumping back and forth.
So The Curse of La Llorona, it's just one of the worst
Don't
movies
recommend
I've ever
it.
seen. It's also just one of the worst movies objectively. And a stain on the horror genre.
Yes.
But, so that and Annabelle Comes Home. Did we even really talk enough about Annabelle? We really didn't.
No. So Annabelle Comes Home is our 8th spot.
Or the last one.
Or the last one. Depends how you want to do it. God, this movie was so bad.
It's just like the thing with Annabelle Comes Home is it fakes you, because it makes you think that you're in for like a decent movie when Ed and Lorraine are in there, and then once it follows Judy and like that whole plot, it's like, okay, this is like interesting, right? But then once nothing happens, then nothing else happens either. But then the one girl goes into
this stupid chick, Katie,
and there's already, and like
the actress,
when you're like 20 minutes into the film, it's already loaded with logic flaws.
It's so bad. I can't. I don't even
like
want to.
I don't even know where to begin, because again, we'll be talking about this movie for hours. But Ed and Lorraine are just non-existent, and they give like an explanation, but it still doesn't really.
Yeah, I don't know if they were working on it. I think they were working on a case or something, because they were gone like overnight.
Yeah. But whatever. So this babysitter is okay with having her friend over, who she knows is like a troublemaker. So this girl, this friend of the babysitter of Judy, she goes into Ed and Lorraine's museum of haunted objects to try to contact her dad, who recently passed, and just trying to see if she could communicate with him. And that, well, she touches almost every object in the room, which I think it say on the door, like, oh no, it doesn't say on the door, but I know Ed says in The Conjuring, don't touch, but she doesn't know
on
that.
Annabelle, it literally says caution, don't open or don't touch.
But she touches everything like a little child when the girl is like maybe 16.
Yeah, I would say she's 16.
And so
17.
she's just like,
stupid.
She's just like showing behavior of like a 6-year-old, and just touching everything, being careless, trying to communicate with stuff in there, then takes Annabelle out of the case, and then that's when basically the Annabelle demon starts causing mayhem. Only it doesn't, because nothing happens in the movie up until it goes to shit.
Yeah.
So then Uh, I'm just like, I'm trying
Okay,
to
but you
explain
know
this
what?
movie without getting so
Here's the
mad.
thing about this movie. Okay, at least with La Llorona, it had a plot.
Uh-huh.
It had a plot. It had an idea. Okay, this
Well,
movie. Okay, but the plot of
yeah,
it
yeah.
makes more sense than the plot of Annabelle Comes Home
Yeah.
because it's so far-fetched that it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Like, again, Annabelle Comes Home, I believe, takes place a year after the Conjuring movie.
Yeah.
So, or like the Conjuring timeline.
Yeah.
I believe it takes place
No,
in
it does take place a year after the first
72.
Conjuring. So
Yes.
yeah.
So this is still kind of fresh with Annabelle. And again, if I'm remembering this correctly, I think they get Annabelle not long before they did the Conjuring. They did the Perrin
Yeah,
case.
it might have been like a couple months, or maybe
it
it's
was
even less than that. I don't
yeah.
remember.
If from my knowledge, I believe they didn't get Annabelle that they got her.
They didn't have her that long.
They didn't
until
have her
the
that
Conjuring
long.
Case
Yes,
happened. Yeah.
they had her for a short amount of time. So then the movie just kind of shows a little introduction, and then it jumps a year later. Basically with Judy, which is their daughter. Which again, they do have a real daughter named Judy, but Judy's honestly just there for, I don't know, just to show they had a kid.
Judy's like not even the main character.
She's not even the main character of the movie.
It's the 16-year-old girl.
But the thing that's funny is they try to make her this I don't know. Okay, yeah. I don't know how Judy is in real life, mind you. She's like older in real life than she was technically in this timeline of these movies. The age is already not accurate. The lore isn't accurate. Now, I don't know too much about their daughter Judy. I don't know if she actually has powers like her mom does, so I'm not gonna like judge it based off of that. But the fact that they made Judy in this movie kind of have similar clairvoyant powers, medium powers, whatever, that her mom does. She can kind of sense things. She can see spirits that have died, that aren't there, all that stuff. That's kind of the premise of the movie, is Judy is kind of taking over as the Lorraine in this situation. So yeah, jumps a year later. I believe Ed and Lorraine go on a case. They're gone for a few days, overnight. So she has staying with her babysitter is staying with her in their house. And then this is just kind of where the movie really goes to shit. You have McKenna Grace playing Judy, which I find
so after the intro, the movie goes to shit. Yeah.
So yeah, after the intro, the movie goes to shit. That's all I'm gonna say.
The movie already has issues in the intro.
It already
by the way,
has issues
because there's
yes.
stuff with the Annabelle when they like have her in the car that I had issues with.
Oh yeah, that wait,
Remember?
was that with the shitty intro?
That was with the shitty. Well, it wasn't like that. It was bad, but it wasn't like.
No, but that was with the shitty intro where they stop off on the side of the road because the car stops working by the cemetery, and Lorraine is looking and sees all these dead spirits. Yeah. First of all.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yes,
about
because
that.
listen, this is remember because it starts with it starts with the nursing student. Remember the opening scene where they're talking to the nurse and she had the doll.
Yeah.
So this is when they get the doll, is the opening scene of
like the very
Annabelle
opening.
Comes Home.
You think the movie's actually going to be decent?
Yes, you can. Yeah, yes, it looks like it would.
Yeah, but then no.
Then no, and then they get the doll and they bring it home. In their defense, though, of Annabelle, they don't really know much about her. But what they do know about her is that she's used as a conduit. They literally say that in the opening scene when they're talking to the girls who currently had the possession of the doll at that time. So what they do is they take the doll home. Mind you, stupidity, they put the doll in the back seat. Why the hell would you put it in the back seat? Just carry it with you in the front. Second of all, you know it's something is attached to it. So you don't think that it's capable of making your car shut down or making an accident happen or something bad happening? It's like, this is the logic that I don't understand. And then when the car breaks down or something happens, they're like, why is this happening? Maybe it's because you have a fucking possessed doll in the back of your car. Yeah. Maybe that's the reason why.
But the funniest thing though is
stupid.
that kind of logic I didn't even have an issue with because everything else is just so bad.
I did.
No, I did, but I'm saying like that's the kind of stuff that's in like generic horror movies that like you obviously think like, yeah, okay, they're not using their brain, but like you kind of like let go because you're like, all right, I'm just here to watch a movie. That's there, right? It's not good.
I mean, I get
it's
it.
Stupid,
but
right?
it's just,
it is a logic
it's just
flaw,
the little things that piss me off.
Yeah, no, I know, same. But I'm just saying that compared to what the rest of the movie is, that looks like a masterpiece.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because everything else is just infinitely even worse.
Even though the intro scene, I forgot that was like the very, very intro scene. Even though the intro scene was kind of shit, again, what only makes it good is Ed and Lorraine Warren being in that. It's the only that makes it good. They're the only reason why I watched any of these movies is because they're in it. But then yes, then they take it home, and then I think that's when they bring the priest in, and if I'm getting this right,
they go through the routines
process of cleansing her, and Lorraine is like, okay, this doll has too much dark energy, should just be sitting out on a rocking chair.
And then that's when they get the case.
They get the case, they bless it, and this case, if you guys didn't know, is actually, I believe they said it was from an old church that it burned down, or an old church. It was an old like church glass. Yeah. So that it was made out of. So it was already holy, and kind of blessed in a way. So they basically put her in there to lock her in there. So she was surrounded by the Holy Spirit. And that's kind of where the movie starts, and then it jumps a year later, to Judy, and that kind of being the main focus.
Yeah, and then, it makes you think she's the main focus, but then you start spending more time with
I'm sorry, I hate this actress. Katie Seraph.
Is that the supernatural girl?
It's not her fault, but, like, something about her in this role just really pissed me off. Yes, she's the stupid girl that went into the whatever. Now, we talked about some issues we had, but I think, like, it's just so dumb, the little things. Like, it's like they couldn't think of a better way to write how she got into...
Those weren't even the worst things we talked about.
No, I know, but that's my point, is it's like every fucking stepping stone to, like, every scene is just led by stupidity.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so dumb. Like, the babysitter of Judy, her name is Mary, and her best friend is Daniela, who I just said is played by Katie Safrife or whatever. Daniela basically is interested in the Warrens. She's interested by the supernatural, interested in what they actually do is real or not, if they have this museum. So she actually comes over to the Warrens' house where Judy is being babysat by, and pretends to be interested in them, but truly just wants to break into the museum. And then what happens? She
touches everything.
No, but first she gifts Judy roller skates. She gifts Judy roller skates because it's her birthday. Yes.
Yeah. So they can get out of the house. And
mind you, Mary, who is the babysitter and the best friend, knows that Daniela is interested in the Warrens, knows she's a troublemaker. Yeah. So why the hell, when Daniela, the troublemaker, gives Judy roller skates and tells Judy, why don't you go out there and outside and roller skate? And then
she's like the most suspicious, like obviously suspicious girl, and it's
and then the babysitter's like, Daniela, why don't you go with her to make sure she's okay?
Just like flicks her hair and is like, yeah, everything's fine. Yeah, and then stay there and then do that.
Daniela's like, no, I'll stay inside, because they were like baking a cake or something, and she's like, oh, I'll watch the oven, make sure it doesn't catch on fire. You go outside and you watch Judy.
Yeah, but it was done in such a way to where it was like, dude. She, like, even someone who knows nothing about this girl looks suspicious and sounds suspicious.
She's your best friend. Like, you know she wants to go into that room. You think and she's like, do you promise to not go in there? Like, your best friend is a troublemaker. Of course she's gonna go in there and break into their, like it's just so stupid. Like, it's your best friend. You know her the best. Like, you know that she's literally lying to you. Yeah. Like, it's just so dumb.
So, and then she goes into the room and...
touches everything, like you said.
I think maybe we should make a separate video on this movie, because we could talk about it for a while. Yeah. But to kind of briefly, like, go over it. So she goes into the room, and then... she touches everything, and then she prays to Annabelle, but she thinks it's her dad. And then Annabelle she prays to her dad, but then she's giving, like, invitation to, like, the evil spirits.
And Annabelle.
And especially Annabelle. And the Annabelle demon takes advantage of that. And then all hell breaks loose. And then all of a sudden, then nothing happens, and then nothing else happens. And then all of a sudden, Judy isn't the main character anymore. And then it's the, what's her name?
Daniela.
It's Daniela. And then you're like, wait, I want to see more about Judy. But then the movie's like, well, no. And then Danielle is the main character. And then all of a sudden the movie turns into like Night at the Museum / like Goosebumps, where every evil spirit in the in the museum comes to life and is now like haunting the house. Only it's like it's like the worst. It's
Yeah,
like the
awful.
it's like side characters. Like the stuff that haunts them is like stuff that they would never make a movie about. It's like it's like side character
Well,
stuff.
and this
And
is
one of the worst like iterations of this
oh
is
my
the
god,
Wolf Man. They have this wolf dude that looks like a Goosebumps like
so bad.
illustrated like, and I mean like Jack Black Goosebumps. I don't mean like classic
No,
Goosebumps because
no, no.
that was actually
That's
good.
untouchable. That's
That
good.
was actually good
We're
stuff.
talking
But
about the
yeah,
Goosebumps movie with Jack Black and Dylan Minnette.
or it just felt like a cheesy like cartoon.
Like everything's coming to life.
Yeah. And I remember it revealed the wolf, and we're just like we
Oh
looked at each
god.
other and we're like, oh no, like it was so
Well,
bad.
and with the irrelevant character of Bob.
Is that the boyfriend?
Yeah.
Or not the boyfriend, but
just
the one
the
dude?
guy.
Yeah.
Like again, irrelevant character.
They set up this stupid relationship that never needed to happen, and then he comes over corny as hell and is just like, you know, because Daniela told him that the babysitter had a crush on him, and now he's
it's like this
in
love
love.
story.
Now he's in love, and it's like
he's the heroic boyfriend.
You're already
kind of
cringing because even any like normal teenager still, I think, would cringe at this shit.
Yeah.
And then like, so he comes in and he's trying to have this, and then fast forward to the pizza man because they get the pizza there. You know, after the burnt cake, and I'm kind of brushing over everything.
Yeah, we're going over a lot, so it's scattered. Sorry.
The pizza man comes, and then it's like one of the worst dialogue interactions I've seen in a movie.
Oh yeah,
like maybe period, if not in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how you can even try and write this kind of cringe because
So
it seemed like
bad.
they were trying to make it bad. But it's not the bad where you're laughing at it. You're just cringing.
It's like not satire bad.
You're like, oh, can we skip this? This is bad.
Yeah.
And again, in a Conjuring movie, that's just an insult. And then back to Goosebumps and Night at the Museum, where everything is trying to attack them. And then it shows a couple scenes with Judy again, but then it's like, oh, by the way, she's not the main character. Screw you. Daniela, who we don't give a shit about, is the main character again. And then you're like, why aren't they calling Ed and Lorraine Warren? And the movie's like, who cares?
Yeah.
And then
that's the main fucking thing.
And then they're like, they're running away. And and then somehow Judy falls asleep, and then Annabelle's with her, and then
we're jumping so much.
And then the boyfriend's getting chased by the werewolf outside, and he hides in the chicken coop, and then he like tries to be heroic because the blonde girl is like he's gonna like marry her, and then like it gives him strength.
Yeah.
And then Daniela is back to being the main character, and then the blonde girl is like nowhere to be found. And then Daniela is doing her thing.
Remember, she got the okay.
I don't care.
Whoever's listening to this and however I can guarantee you're probably feeling fucking annoyed and really stressed out by how we're talking about this movie.
But that's exactly
we saw it. That's exactly how you will feel when you watch it because there's so much that goes on. You genuinely can't even get a chance to breathe and process what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Because so after Daniela goes into the museum, touches everything, obviously, you know, she thinks everything's fine. And then, of course, stuff starts to slowly happen. They start to hear little things. The door starts to open. There's creaks. And then Judy fucking sees the like bride. Remember she sees the bride? Yeah. And then it's literally about to attack her and she holds up the cross. And then again, Judy, who does know the knowledge of her mom seeing supernatural things, never mentions it. She doesn't even realize, like, you know what? Oh my God, I know that this is real, so I am seeing something in front of me. But then she's like, she forgets like who she is and like that she even is like the daughter of Ed and Lorraine Warren, and just assumes that whatever she saw was just, you know, fake and happening in her head. And then again, stuff starts to slowly progress, and then that's when you start seeing the supernatural things all coming to play. The wolf, you know, Annabelle is kind of like the
I feel like Annabelle's barely even in the movie.
But she ultimately is the one that's kind of controlling them. And it's so funny because it's literally very similar to the plot of the Goosebumps movie. Because you will see, and just kind of like how Goosebumps is, Slappy is kind of like the face of Goosebumps. I feel like he's the one you might go to the most of like, this is Goosebumps. Yeah. That's kind of how he is in the movie. Is Slappy is kind of like the main one and like the leader of all of the other Goosebumps creatures. Kind of controlling or just being the main guy. That's literally how Annabelle is. She is the one controlling them. She is the leader while all of them are just kind of surrounding her and doing their thing.
Yeah.
So that's why people say Annabelle and Slappy would be a good couple.
Yeah, and then like and then the movie. Oh yeah, and then basically all hell breaks loose, and then Ed and Lorraine come home, and then
at the very end,
and then they're like, by the way, that was funny, and we love you.
Yeah.
Like they don't even.
Okay. Yeah. So hold the fuck on. I need to actually. You know what? The more that we're talking about, I actually hate it even more.
That's what I'm saying. This movie is so fucking stupid.
Bad.
Like, there's no logic bones in this movie.
So they're just basically trying to, like, stuff keeps happening to them. I think the babysitter bitch went to the door, like, a million times because it was, like, knocking. You know, that's one of the cliches in The Conjuring is a knocking on the door and there's no one behind the door. That was kind of what's happening. And then you do see the cameo of, like, the Annabelle daughter from, like, the original Annabelle or whatever the hell. They never question. Here's the thing: they never question any of this, which is so hilarious to me. I hate that cliche of stuff is happening, but they just think it's all like a vision of their brain. It's not actually happening in front of them, but in reality, it is. So yeah, and then again, all this the goosebump shit happens. All the spirits are attacking them kind of similarly at the same time. And then you kind of start to realize that Annabelle is the one controlling all of them. I know we had already mentioned it, but we're just kind of summarizing what happens. But you do kind of realize Annabelle is the main source of these attachments or whatever coming to life.
Yeah.
Because again, everything in the museum of Ed and Lorraine Warren, like Ed said, I think in the first Conjuring, they're either possessed, were used in a ritual, or are cursed or something like that. So everything in their museum has some sort of attachment. So that's what is happening is you're seeing. But that's what I did find interesting about the movie that I did sort of like is that you do kind of see a little bit more. Again, it's probably all fake, but like you see more into what each of the artifacts, like their backstory a little bit, which I guess is. I know. I'm just trying to.
This movie shits on the backstory.
Yeah, it does shit on the backstory.
Anything this movie shows is an insult to the original.
But the thing is, like, I don't have a problem. I think it would be really cool if they did a backstory on one of their artifacts.
Yeah, but not the way they did in this movie,
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, if they wanted to use the artifacts coming to life and, like, showing the stories of them, you could have made a movie that was actually showcasing
like, about the individual.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, Ed and Lorraine Warren have thousands of pieces of artifacts that they've collected over the years, like in their actual museum, that they could totally make a cool ass movie on. But like this one, I don't even know if any of the artifacts in this movie besides Annabelle are some of their true artifacts in real life. But yeah, it was just shit how they did it. They definitely got inspiration from the Goosebumps movie and Night at the Museum.
Which shouldn't be involved in this universe at all.
This is the thing, is like this is probably the movie aside from La Llorona. Honestly, I feel like La Llorona is more connected to The Conjuring than this fucking movie is. Like,
yeah, I mean, but like, I don't even like to compare them.
I don't want to compare them, but like, it's so crazy how out of this world it is. Of like, Annabelle comes home, now you'll see what happens. That shit didn't happen. Like, and I guarantee you, Annabelle came home and the case was blessed. It stayed in the case. I guarantee you, nothing fucking happened. Like in the real life situation. But no, they have to fabricate it and make Judy seem like she's this OP character. Of course, there has to be a smart ass kid who's wanting to touch everything and reveal everything, and all that. And again, the movie was just shit. It was shit. And then
it ends with Ed and Lorraine basically saying they basically didn't even acknowledge the mess
that they did
and the horrors that they did. And they basically were just like, yeah, but you know what? Love wins. And forgiveness wins.
Yeah.
But it's like, no. You don't have the right to say that or to put that in the fucking movie.
Also,
the amount of like shit that you conjured up, you literally conjured up demons.
Also, the fact that
the hell do you mean?
The bride girl literally possessed her. She almost killed her best friend because remember the bride was in her, and then
you're right.
Then Judy
almost died.
Judy almost died, but
the boyfriend almost died.
Remember, it's a demon. So what did they do? They turned the projector on of Ed performing an exorcism on some other case, and that was how she got out of her body, was because of the exorcism. And then it's doing some Cat in the Hat shit. Remember when they're trying to close everything back into the red box at the end of the movie because like it all exploded
So
and it's
stupid.
crazy. You know when they're trying to latch it and like there's so much happening. That's exactly what happened when they were trying to put Annabelle back in the case because they realized that Annabelle was the one kind of controlling everything. The only way to fix it was to put Annabelle back in her case and lock her up. Which again, just so fucking stupid. So then they put her in there. Stuff keeps happening. Judy's trying to hold up a cross and pray that these entities stop attacking them. They eventually lock Annabelle back into the case. Everything goes back to normal as if nothing happened. They all go back into their objects, and that is that. And then after this all happens, of course, you know, there's that time of reminiscence. They're trying to process what happened, and then and then that was when Ed and Lorraine came home, which I find so funny that Lorraine Warren like is able, she literally sensed what was happening with Judy in The Conjuring, but she didn't sense
she can't even sense what's happening.
A million of their objects coming to life in the span of a few days. She never sensed that. Okay, that makes total sense. And then they said at the end of the movie, "Oh, we have to tell your mom," which that was probably the only, you know, I guess a little thing that they did right was they told them instead of, oh, we're, like let's not tell our parents.
Well, they had to because the movie had to end, or else the
yes,
movie
they had to end.
Long.
They had to be some conclusion. They told the parents, and then of course Daniela, who has this little monologue with Lorraine in the kitchen or wherever, and said something. She said something like, "Oh, like Daniela was like, oh, I'm so sorry I did that." Whatever. Lorraine's like, "Oh my god, it's okay." Like you know what? Didn't she? It said something like, "Oh, it happens to the best of us," or whatever. And then Daniela was like, "Well, you don't release, people don't normally release like a million haunted entities out into the world." And then Lorraine was like, "You're right." And then she went into a whole thing about, oh, how she actually, like, Lorraine saw her dad and was trying to give her some closure on her dad, and it wasn't her fault and all this jazz. And then that's how the movie ends.
Yeah, it's just an insult. I mean, and there's some people
it's
that,
atrocious.
like, you know, will say, oh, it's like a fun slumber party movie.
No.
But this is the Conjuring Universe.
Yeah, this isn't a fun slumber party.
This is based on a demonic doll.
This isn't like a scary movie.
That was already established within a universe that, even though they do a shit job at making the lore correct, they're trying to establish the real horrors of demons in the demonic world.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the first movie did, and the first movie did a really good job at it, and it made those characters in that story so real that you would fear your own home, and you would feel like that you could see that happening in your own home.
Mm-hmm.
But then they make Annabelle comes home, and then that bullshit with it's Goosebumps Night at the Museum, slop fest, and it destroys everything that The Conjuring made good, and the horror genre, like, just destroy, like I'm losing brain cells even just trying to explain. It's just a bad movie, and
I wish it would cease to exist. That would be the one movie that again, it didn't even need to be made. No one fucking cares about Annabelle Comes Home.
It's just all about money, man.
Like that, yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
No one cares about, like.
They could have simply left it with, like, again, they could have added the nurse scene of when they get Annabelle at the end of the first Annabelle movie. And just had that be the conclusion. Okay, we know that she's in the cage. We know it's blessed.
Yeah.
Leave it at that. Why do you need to make and again, not to fucking be devil's advocate, but I don't know if in the real case, Annabelle actually, you know, there were times where she was able to, you know, her entity was able to come out even though she wasn't the case, yada, 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 whatever.
Even if that's the reality definitely wasn't Annabelle Comes
Home. And even if that was
so...
true, you don't need to make a movie about it.
Yeah.
You literally don't. I mean, God forbid, they made, like, they missed the main issues with a lot of movies. They didn't even make it. They just fabricated everything. But, like, it doesn't need to be fabricated. You don't need to make a movie about something just because it's interesting, like, or you think it will be interesting. No. Oh my God, it's just so. It's so infuriating. Like,
it's just one of those things where it's like you stunts your brain, because it's like trying to tell someone that eating dog shit's bad. You know, for people that say it's good. It's like sometimes you don't even know how to explain to someone why that's bad. You're
Mhm.
just like, "It's bad," you know?
Yeah.
And, like, the more, like, you try to explain it, the more your brain just stops working because 'cause you're like, "Dude, I don't know how to fucking let you comprehend this."
Yeah.
That's how I feel about La Llorona and
No,
Annabelle
and
Comes Home.
it's like I think these movies are the perfect depiction of saying the phrase of, like, less is more, because this movie is so much more than it needed to be. It's like, when you're trying to, like, put jewelry on and, you put too much on and you're like, "You know what? I need to look in the mirror and take one piece off." That's what they should have done with this movie. They should have taken a million pieces of jewelry off themselves, because this movie just didn't need to happen. You don't need to stack so much, onto it because you think it's going to be good or you want to be entertaining. It doesn't
Yeah.
need that. You could have made a solid franchise. Like, oh my God, this is one of the most interesting, like, ideas ever. I think The Conjuring was such a pivotal horror movie because, like, it truly showed Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are real demonologists, their cases. It's such an interesting and fascinating idea for a movie and a franchise, but yet you continued to make shitty movies with fabricated lies that are just so atrocious. And even though the first Conjuring is fabricated as well, at least it was done well, and I still think it is one of the best horror movies of all time, and it is one of my favorite of all
One of the
time.
reasons people believed it to be true is just because it was done so
It was
well,
so well
you know?
and realistic. Like, okay,
Um
realistic might be a stretch because there were a lot of things that,
No, but it's believable.
but
Like
it's
if
believable in
someone
that
doesn't know anything about a
idea.
demon, that was believable
Yes.
to be something that a demon could
Yes.
do or what a demon is, you know? And they explain it in the movie too. It's not
Mhm.
just you're just like, what's a
No,
demon? They explain what a demon is. They explain what a
yep,
possession is. So they have you going in with if you have zero
step
building
by
blocks
step.
for what, all that stuff is.
Well, and
So
the buildup is
but
so good too. Like,
but all right, well
again,
let's get to that because we talked too much
I don't
about
know if we're gonna be here all night. We're
no,
only on the
well,
third
yeah,
movie.
let's
Let's
just
just go
talk. Let's
faster.
go briefly over all the other
Okay.
ones. But though,
Um,
but because those two were just so there's
Bad.
just so
We
much to
really needed to
unpack on
talk
like
about it.
issues. That's why it's just we have a lot to talk about with those. We have a lot to talk about with all of them. However, just for the sake of this video not being super
Yeah.
long, we could just kind of brief over them. So the next one is
The
we have
Nun.
what, the Nun? Okay.
The Nun
So
too, like we said,
The Nun,
interchangeable.
overall, it's an underwhelming horror movie.
Yeah, it's
It's the first like 20 minutes is all right, but then it goes downhill because the scares are very, very like bad
and
in
cliche.
at least in the beginning. Cliche. It felt like a fan film at times.
Mm-hmm.
The story was kind of boring, at least to me. That's more of a subjective thing, but I would even argue some of it just wasn't done well objectively. Um, I hated Frenchie. I think Frenchie destroyed, like, basically Frenchie, to say it really quickly, Frenchie was the guy that was being possessed in the footage in The Conjuring when they showed the upside down cross appear from his, what was it, abdomen or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that character has a lot of weight and a lot of lore into Ed and Lorraine. And for that character to be basically uh like this Marvel humor um rescue character, it just it
Yeah.
not only does it like defame the character of like what you kind of think of him as in The Conjuring, but it makes The Conjuring look silly. That scene looks silly, and therefore it
Mm-hmm.
makes The Conjuring kind of look silly.
Yep.
So then it makes you have this weird outlook where it's like, oh, you're gonna constantly be reminded of this one-liner Marvel dude. Um, and it reminds you of The Nun, which is not a good horror movie at all. It's just
No, I know
yeah,
what you're
and there's a
saying.
lot of other issues, but I don't want to talk too much
Because
over them. What do you have to say about The Nun?
like I said before, The Nun is just something that was added to the movies to add depth. Um I think The Nun is a little bitch. I was tired of seeing her in every scene, just staring, just being down a hallway, walking slowly past, just doing her normal bitchy face. I just think the character of the nun, I think her bits of the Conjuring 2 were so scarier than literally what they showed of her in the
100%.
Nun in the Nun 2. Like, it was just so overdone. I personally like the Nun 2 better. Not by much though. I think Frenchie is an issue in the Nun 2 that I have, but I did like I think I liked more of what was happening in the Nun 2.
I think the Nun 2 establishes its story better.
It's just, yeah, it establishes the
I
story
think that's
better.
why it's a little bit better than the first
I
one.
do like the scares better, if you want to say. I did actually kind of like the one where the little girl is looking down the hallway, sees the nun, and then she like runs down the stairs, turns around, the nun does some kind of jump scare, and then like kind of forms into like the wall. Usually I'm a person who hates jump scares. Like I just think they're so overused and cliche. But that was really the only thing that I guess you could say I liked about the use of the nun in that movie. I like the use of the nun better in the second one than the first one. That's truly like one of the only reasons why I like it. Yeah, I don't know. I just think the first one, it was just so cliche and just so stupid with like a lot of what was happening. Like the priest who got flown into the grave and he was basically being buried alive.
Yeah, it was
the
just
whole
like,
get there. How like
if it was your first ever horror movie you've seen, maybe you'd think that it's like all right. But I still would think that if it's your first horror movie, you're gonna like never want to watch another horror movie because just how stupid the first Nun is.
I feel like, again, and I wish there would be just a movie where like, which is probably the only Conjuring, maybe the Conjuring 2, where like they actually get like what a demon does and actually like how it shows itself. It's just so fabricated that it's just so stupid in how they take these demons in like horror movies and just showcase them in like such a way that a demon wouldn't actually act, especially when you're dealing with a case that involves two people who are demonologists and study demons, and you're not even showing how demons actually show themselves. Like, it's just so stupid. Yeah. And that was why I didn't like the Nun. I just thought it was such a cliche demon they could have done. I don't really care about the backstory of the nun. She's just kind of posing as a nun to get closer to Satan or to gain powers, because technically, you know, you want to ruin people who are the closest in faith to God, you know, as a demon, which are, you know, nuns are one of them. So I think that was why she basically took the look of a nun. But again, I just don't really care. I think The Nun is one of the worst horror movies, and it's so funny because like when I watched it, I was like, this is the worst horror movie of all time. Yeah, and then you watch Annabelle Comes Home and Curse of La Llorona, and I'm like, wait, The Nun actually is looking a little bit better now. But I still think it's an awful horror movie. It's just nothing. I didn't feel anything watching it. I just felt, again, pain and agony. Yeah. The Nun 2 is pretty much the same. I don't feel like it's really any better. I just liked it a little bit more. Like, I'd rather rewatch The Nun 2 than rewatch The Nun. But that's just my opinion. So yeah, I just think I think they're boring. I think they're useless, and they're literally, again, only there because they wanted to write in some crazy connection to tie Ed and Lorraine Warren to it to make it more interesting. Mm-hmm. That was the only reason.
And then there's Annabelle Creation, right?
No, we're on the Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It. Don't we put Annabelle? We put Annabelle Creation above the Conjuring.
Oh no, you're right. I don't know why I was thinking. No, you're right. You're right.
So yes, those movies are done. I'm not talking about them anymore.
All right, Conjuring. So we get to our first Conjuring movie on this list.
The Devil.
So the Conjuring 3. This whole movie could have been way better if it was just about the kid in the beginning. If this movie legit, first off, this movie has the worst lore. I don't think we should go too deep into it because, again, we'll be here talking about it forever. But this movie does a terrible job at depicting what actually happened in reality. Yeah. There is like the movie, the intro, like the beginning of the movie has like this.
The intro was kind of good.
Except like the logic,
but it wasn't a bad intro.
But yeah, so like the kid being possessed and all of that. I think if that was just the entire movie, they could have definitely done their overblown like bullshit theatrics with that and just kind of made it into like, you know, they could have made it grounded like the first Conjuring and just did their own thing with it. And then throughout, like it could be all right. But no, they had to mix like everything in this movie. So they have the Devil Made Me Do It kid. So the kid who like wanted the demon,
David.
only it's not a demon. It's basically an evil spirit, which we still don't know about. Well, that might have been because I wasn't paying attention. Like that, I wasn't paying pinpoint accuracy attention to the lore of this movie because I was kind of checked out of it by the end because I just felt like I wasted my time. But what you want to say?
Okay, I know you don't want to talk about the lore, but it's so important that like I need to just
Yeah,
mention
that's
it.
fine, that's fine. Yeah.
Again, please do your research about these cases. I'm probably not getting everything 100% accurate because I don't actually have it in front of me right now looking at it, but I'm just kind of basing it off of memory. But The Conjuring, we watched this one 2 nights ago or something, and
Yeah, it
I
was
looked up the
yeah.
lore. Again, basically the idea of the movie is real. So like David got possessed. That's the beginning. Arnie basically was like, get out of him, come into me. Which happens in the intro. That actually did happen. Now, and then you see at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, we've been saying spoilers all throughout this, but he basically got arrested for the murder of their landlord, which you do also see in the movie, which also did happen in real life. That is about, and I guess Ed and Lorraine Warren going to the court and basically defending him of being possessed by something, which I thought was actually interesting, is the first case in American history to of demonic possession being used as a defense in a case trial of a murder, which is pretty cool. I didn't know that. That was actually pretty interesting. But that's, and then yeah, he went to jail for however many years, and then he got released, I think, after 5 on good behavior, whatever. That is about it. That is the only truth to this movie. The whole idea with the witchcraft was just something to add into the movie. I think it was probably the dumbest thing they could have done was adding in this witchcraft. Because at the end of the day, they don't know what truly possessed David. They don't know what was doing this to him. They never figured it out. Arnie, I believe the real guy, said that over time that this possession that he so-called said was inside of him just dissipated and faded away and then never bothered him ever again. That was about it. There's really nothing that we have like proof-wise. I mean, Ed and Lorraine Warren did visit him. They did try to figure out what was going on. They did do a recording, which you see at the end of the movie, about the recording of the exorcism or just talking to Arnie with this supposed spirit inside of him, which I thought was really freaking cool. But again, that's about it. I think the movie overall was pretty bad. The idea of the witchcraft, it's just like, I don't like how you can combine a real case like that and then make the reasoning behind it be like a witch doing this to curse people. Like, it's just something about it is just so messed up that whatever. But just as a movie, I think the idea of witchcraft is still stupid. I really wish, like Scotty had said, that they would have done what happened with David when he first got this attachment inside of him. And then the movie could just be showing that, and then it could literally end with it going into Arnie and then him killing the landlord or him getting arrested. That would have been so good in my opinion, considering they said this is one of their most craziest cases that they've ever had, which again is just so funny to me because I don't know, I feel like nothing really happened, but I don't know. I need to do more research on it to really get down to that. But yeah, I just think the witchcraft was stupid.
Yeah, this movie was a mess. So basically,
you did say, I know I'm talking about a lot, but
no, you're good.
I know
you're
you.
good.
I know you did say that the one good thing about this movie, was again also Ed and Lorraine Warren. I think Vera Farmiga, and then I think that's how you say her name, and Patrick Wilson, who play Ed and Lorraine Warren, are truly the people that carry these movies.
100%.
Without them,
yeah,
these movies would be awful. I think they were such a good cast for Ed and Lorraine Warren. And I think what you said, too, in this movie, that what made it good was you kind of see the progression of their powers. Well, not, I guess not powers.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe with Lorraine, but the growth of them.
I think the two things that make this movie watchable, because I don't think the movie is like that bad to where it's like I can't watch it, like La Llorona or like Annabelle Comes Home. Now I'm never wanting to watch it again.
Yeah,
like I never want to watch it again.
I never
right?
want to watch it again.
But when you're first time watching it, the only thing that kind of kept me going was the mystery and was Ed and Lorraine doing their thing and trying to, because it did kind of remind me a little bit of Supernatural and how like they go through stuff, because there were a couple scenes where it's like, ooh, this is interesting, and you're kind of already thinking, oh, it's probably witchcraft, but
like when they find the thing under the house,
but you're not glued to it like something like Prisoners with the mystery in that movie. Like you're not like oh, I'm like glued to my seat, can't wait to see. Like it's just one of those movies where it's like it's already bad but you want to finish it, so you're like, I guess kind of keeping me going. Yeah, it's like that mystery value, and also kind of, like I don't know. I think Ed and Lorraine were, yeah, I don't know. And then, like, yeah, with the weird scene with them versus the witch, and, like, the witch isn't even, like, scary. It's just I
She's
put, like, on, like, a letterbox thing. I was like, she kind of feels like that early 20th century, like, school teacher, like, strict school teacher.
Mhm.
She just that was her aura. She didn't really
Yeah.
feel,
I didn't get.
you know,
I mean,
creepy or
she is like
anything.
a real person, but like
But it's like, come on,
but
like,
like
this is
they
like, do your best, and
yeah,
I
it
that's
was
it
bad.
feels like a pattern with a lot of, like, the Conjuring movies after the first one, where it's like the makeup kind of, like, they could do some scary and horrifying shit, but, like, I feel like they're almost afraid to.
Yeah,
And
I don't know
and
why.
that was evident in this movie. They could have made this movie a lot, like,
Mhm.
scarier and darker, and they just for some reason didn't. And um and I just ask why. This is a horror
Mhm.
movie. Don't give me that bullshit of, oh well, we're trying to make it more open for people. It's like, this is a horror movie.
Mhm.
Go all in,
Yeah,
make this movie scary,
and
because this is another reason why people go to it. They don't, like, yeah, there are some people that, like, they're kind of like fooling themselves when they say, like, oh, I want to go see a horror movie, but they're not actually, they're going to see a movie that, like, doesn't go full in, and then
mhm.
they say and brag, oh, I went to a horror movie. It's like, nah, man, like, when I want to go see a horror movie, I want to see something that fucking makes me really, like, terrified and think. And therefore, like, that's what I like. And I like, obviously, like, I like, when it goes deeper with, like, the artistry of, like, horror and stuff. But, like, come on, man. It's like sometimes some of these movies, like, just you have the building blocks of making this scary, and you just half-ass it, or you're, like, afraid to go there. Like,
Especially in this franchise when
yeah,
you should be having a certain tone and a way to go about
right.
your movies. Like I just don't. It's like they were trying to get rid of the cliche of like, oh, let's have this movie be about a demonic possession like all the other ones were, and let's change it to be about witchcraft and like a curse. It's like
Yeah, it's like they were
it's
trying
like
to be
it doesn't
different, but they
fit.
failed.
It doesn't fit within the universe. Maybe if this was the first movie that came out because you have nothing to base it off of. But even that, like it doesn't feel, and again, I don't know if any of the Warrens cases involved any kind of witchcraft, but, like, it just didn't feel like
It
Ed
felt
and
like a
Lorraine Warren.
supernatural
Yes,
episode.
it
Yeah,
felt like they
it
weren't
didn't feel
even.
grounded within that
Yeah, it
universe.
felt like they were taken out of their universe and were
Yeah,
spawned into something totally
right,
different,
right.
and they were trying to, like, figure their way out and, like, what
Yeah,
was going on.
yeah.
Like, you had some big chungus fat dude, like, I don't even know what he was in, when they were,
I
like, in the
I don't even know,
hospital.
but to be fair, I, like, checked out of that movie,
Yeah.
like,
But
at least, like,
this
30
movie
minutes
this
in.
movie makes Lorraine more in tune with her powers because you see that she is this witch kind of has similar powers that she kind of has, to where she can, like, she has visions or some sort of mental things that she can do, and Lorraine kind of gets in tune with that and kind of uses it against her in a way, or just kind of helps Lorraine figure out what's actually going on with this
Mhm.
girl. um and I don't know, like, the idea of witchcraft is so fucking cool, but I think in this idea as a Conjuring movie, it just doesn't fit for me.
Yeah,
I think the movie had a lot of problems aside from what we did say.
yeah.
But I mean, if you're just trying to pick and choose some to watch, I mean, I guess this is a fine one to watch.
No, I wouldn't even recommend it to watch.
Well, I think if you're trying to grasp Ed and Lorraine Warren,
No,
like,
watch the first movie.
no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, if you want to get your experience of watching Ed and Lorraine Warren, and no, maybe even not. Now I'm like,
Yeah,
now I'm
what do you
thinking, like,
mean?
no. Well, I'm just saying because, like, if you like Ed and Lorraine Warren, like, I guess watch this movie because you see more of them, but it doesn't mean that it's
But it's
good.
not them. Like,
Yeah, it's not.
it still didn't feel like, well,
It
yeah,
didn't.
like, it's Ed and Lorraine, but, like, it's still, because this movie is so, like, fantastical with its horror, it felt like you were watching a different version of them.
Yeah, the only thing that felt like them was the intro
Yeah.
and the scene when they're in
Well,
court.
they do feel like, to be fair, it does feel like them, but when you, like, because it's not like they're, like, acting out of their, like, character, because they do
No,
have their character, but
that's what I'm saying. It's them,
a
but it's in a movie that
fantastical,
doesn't
yeah,
that they shouldn't correlate
yeah,
with.
it's
Like,
just the
that's the
fantastical
problem.
elements that are happening around them, where it's like, okay, this is them, but, like, this is like I wouldn't say it's a parody, but it's like, this
It
feels like,
feels
it
like a
feels like a different
parody.
universe, like,
Yes.
yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so after that
So yeah, that's the end of that
we
movie.
have Annabelle Creation, right? Is that what we have next?
Let me see. Yes, Annabelle Creation,
All right.
and then Annabelle.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay. So Annabelle
Those
Creation and
can
Annabelle are kind
coexist.
of like they can kind of bump each other because both those movies have issues and they both have some all right, some like pluses. To briefly go over it, Annabelle Creation, the reason why I think I don't know. I can't say it's better than Annabelle and vice versa. What I love about Annabelle Creation is I think the child actress in that movie carries it. Um, and she does such a phenomenal job of like showing her like true horror and emotion throughout the movie that I feel like I haven't seen like a child actor get like that in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think like she carries it in that way. The story was all right. But then the movie starts to fall apart when she gets possessed and when Annabelle
Mm-hmm.
takes over her, because then
Yeah.
the movie kind of gets a little too theatrical and fantastical, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, now we just completely abandoned the groundedness that The Conjuring did. Now
Yep.
it's kind of good. It wasn't like totally out there like Annabelle Comes Home. No, 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 no.
No,
It's
no,
not even
no.
close to that. But it's still like a certain level where it's like, all right, this is kind of getting a little too theatrical, and I feel like I know I'm watching a movie. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
immersed like I was in The Conjuring.
Yep.
So,
No,
um,
I think the origin of how Annabelle came to be is good. Again, I don't know how Annabelle actually was created in real life. I think we just know the idea of how the Warrens really collected her. I don't know if we know that far back, but they wanted to make it to where it was this husband and wife. The husband was a doll creator. He made dolls for a living. They also had a daughter. The daughter got murdered in an accidental crash, which is kind of a like a what the fuck moment when you watch it in the movie. Um, and then you start to see that the daughter is taking over the doll, but then you like as a spirit, but then you start to realize it's not actually their daughter, it's actually a demon possessing to be or acting as their daughter, um pretending to be their daughter as the one that's actually using Annabelle as a conduit. So that's kind of the premise of Annabelle. Yes, the girls in the movie, the girl who plays Janice, Talitha Bateman, I think is how you say her name. She did phenomenal. I mean, that her acting performance was fantastic. I think she really sold the movie for me and made it good. I loved all the elements with her. Even her character, I don't what did they say her disability was or what illness she had? Was
oh, I
it
think it was polio.
polio or
Yeah.
something? Um even not even just like her like word acting,
But
but like
her
her
physical
physical acting
performances
and
and yeah.
how she did that too was really
Yeah, it was really
really
good.
good. And then you kind of start to see them. She's like the main character, but then it also starts to tear into Lulu Wilson, who plays Linda, her best
Mhm.
friend. She also starts becoming a victim of Annabelle and kind of becomes the other main character.
Yeah.
About I would say about halfway through the movie, she gets more prominent. But overall, the movie was pretty good. Like, I think as an origin story, it's not bad. I do like the idea orphanage girls, they're, there, realize, whatever. I can go into the plot of it, but just look it up yourself.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, I would probably say it's like
I like the vibe of it. Like, I don't think the vibe is the problem. I think it really just starts to get too theatrical
yeah.
when it takes over
Yeah.
Janice. But like the idea of the doll, I mean, I don't think that's like bad. I think it's cool how the doll was kept in a room with like pages of the Bible posted everywhere. Like that was kind of interesting, but also
Yeah.
you have a possessed doll, so why didn't you get a priest or something? But if they thought it was still their daughter, maybe they wanted to still keep it, but just keep it, protected and blessed. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could go on, but
But
yeah.
yeah, this is a movie I would definitely watch over The Conjuring 3.
Oh yeah, I would
Yeah.
watch this over The Conjuring 3. I would also recommend this movie. I would not really recommend the other ones that we had just talked about. Um I don't know. if I would say this is like a good horror movie to watch if you're new to horror.
I don't. I rate things more strictly. I don't even think I would call this a.
It's not fantastic. Like, the movie's not fantastic.
I think it's all right. I think it's decent, but I don't think it's like great.
No,
anything.
no, it's not. No, it's not. It's
and
spectacular.
I'm struggling to say it's good either. But I don't know.
I would say it's good.
You think it's good?
I would think it's good, but again, like, am I just thinking? But even when I watched it, because this is the second one you technically watched chronologically, I still thought it was pretty good. Like, I don't know. I feel like out of all of them, while it still has its cliche.
The first half is definitely good.
Yes, the first half is the best.
But then it's just that second half that, dude, it's like the theatrics and stuff. It's just a lot of issues of that are present in so many of today's bad horror movies. That's why it's like I struggle to say that I recommend this movie or that it's good. It's just because the second half really does kind of stain the rest of the movie. Now, of course, I wouldn't. It's definitely not horrible. It's definitely not like, you know, the other movie's bad, but it's still one of those things where, like, I just don't stand, like, I cannot stand, like, praising, like, just that kind of slop anymore, just because we keep getting it, and it's like we're not getting any improvement with horror lately.
It's just so dry. It just feels like again, Ed and Lorraine Warren are the center of it all, and they're just trying to create stories to revolve it around them to try to be cohesive and exist in the the actual Conjuring movies, like that universe. Like, obviously we see Annabelle, but they're like, okay, well, now we have to make an Annabelle movie to tie it all in together, and it's like, okay, let's write it like this. The girl's at an orphanage. It was their daughter, whatever. Like, it's just so it's so dumb. Like, I wish they would just actually think for a second and just develop a real movie. Like, again, they could have easily done something realistically to what happened with the doll, like with the real people who had it in their hands at the time. Like, you don't need to make some fake facade. Like, it's just so stupid. But yeah, I mean, if you were to ask me if you should watch this movie, sure. But do I think it's something that's gonna blow your socks off? No. Would I consider it really scary? No. Does it have elements that might creep you out? Sure. But it's not like... I also judge horror movies a lot, like, really hard. It gets a lot... I need a lot in it for me to actually be scared. So, yeah. I guess I'll say it's fine. It's a decent movie, especially when you're comparing it to the rest of these, though. It's definitely higher up on the list.
So now for Annabelle 1. I think like, what's your view on Annabelle 1 really quick, and then I'll go over mine.
So this was really the movie. I saw Annabelle when it first came out, or a few years after it came out. So I
saw it when it first came in theaters. Were you in the same theater?
Was I in the same? I don't know.
Well, because we were both young when
I don't. I think I watched it myself when it came out on, like, a streaming service or DVD or whatever. I don't even remember.
2014. So yeah, I mean, that was
maybe, I don't know. Whatever. I saw around when it first came out, and it's honestly exactly how I remembered it when I watched it, like, with you or whatever. It's exactly how I remembered it. I don't really change my opinion on it. I'm pretty standard. I think the movie is all right. I do want to say I think Annabelle gets way too much hate. A lot of people hate on this movie. Yeah,
this is like the most overhated horror movie. One of the most overhated horror movies of all time.
I think, and I don't know why. I genuinely think people just crave so much theatrics when it comes to horror movies that when they see a movie without that, they think it's awful and bad and boring, when in reality it's actually more realistic and keeps a consistent, somber, darker tone than being Goosebumps and, like, being extravagant and doing unlimited jump scares. The one thing I liked about this movie was that a lot of what I noticed is some of the...
Wait, hold on. And another thing, too, I want to add to that, because it just came to my mind. I think another reason why a lot of people hated this movie when it first came out is because it came right off The Conjuring. Because The Conjuring was so good.
You're right.
This also was not, like, it wasn't...
You're right.
It wasn't horrible, or it wasn't, like, bad, but it's just, like, The Conjuring was just so good that when they saw this movie, they're like, what the hell? We were expecting, like, the Conjuring
Yep.
level, you know.
No, you're right. I forgot it
So
came out like
that's
right
another
after.
that's another thing. But like once movies started coming out in this universe, I think if people return to Annabelle, they'll realize that it's not as bad as what they thought.
Yes, and
Yeah.
yep. I think people should give it a rewatch. If you remember it being bad because you saw it when it first came out around the Conjuring time, um, give it a rewatch. I think that's also kind of a problem. I don't know why they made like they made a prequel, I guess you can say, because it's Annabelle. But like I feel like they should have, instead of making that Annabelle, they should have done the origin story first, and then made the Annabelle story come out after the original. Because it's just it kind of throws you off a little bit because you're kind of like, well, why are we seeing Annabelle already in action? Like I want to see where she originally came from. So I mean, I guess at that time people might have thought that. But still, as a movie, I thought it was pretty decent. I don't know. I feel like this is kind of like a calming horror movie for me. Like I feel like I could just chill and watch this. Like I feel like I don't need to like I could throw this on and like just kind of clean my room. I don't what?
Yeah, it's kind of like no, I'm just thinking. It's
Oh, you
kind of
immediately
no,
scared me.
I looked it over the
It's not
TV,
one of
yeah.
those movies where like you actually really want to sit down and watch it like The
Yeah.
Conjuring. It's just kind of like, you know what? I'll put on a horror movie. I'll do some like cleaning around the house. And you put on Annabelle.
It's kind of like a rainy day horror movie.
Yeah, it's not one of those ones where like you're really gonna be focused in on it, especially after already watching it.
You can, but it's not. You don't have to.
Yeah,
be,
you don't have to. At least that's just how I interpret it. Like when I was watching it, like I was so chill. I was like relaxed. But it's still a good movie. Like I wasn't bored. It kept me entertained, and like what I was gonna say earlier is it had I don't know really how to describe it that well, but it didn't really have as much jump scares as Creation or the other ones did.
And it does, but it just doesn't have as much.
Yes, but how they're done is what I like. They're kind of pre-developed for the viewer seeing them. So it's not like they're typical, the character turns around and there's like a demon in front of their face. It's kind of like they slowly progress on your screen. And then it starts to speed up, and then that's when the scare kind of starts to happen. So you can kind of tell when it's happening.
One of the best examples of that is when the little girl is running.
Yep.
And then it just turns into the adult.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly
that is like my example of like how you do a jump scare correctly.
And that is one of, I don't know if it's one of my favorite like jump scares of all time, but it's one that I really like that is done well because of that reason. Because she turns around, it's not a jump scare, it's not right in front of your face. She's across the hall.
Right.
You're prepared. Like it's preparing you that something possibly might happen.
Yeah.
But then it switches on you of after she runs, it turns into the adult version, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
It's not your typical jump scare. It's not like it just happens out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's pre-developed, and that's what I think a lot of them. If you rewatch it, you'll kind of maybe notice it more, but that happens a lot with all of them. Is they're like pre-developed on the screen, where they show something before it actually like does that scaring thing to you. That's what I really liked and what I respected out of it. And yeah, I mean it's a good movie. The idea at the end where she kind of has to sacrifice a soul in order for the demon to move on is all right. I don't know if I really liked what was her name? Remember the lady that like basically killed herself for them?
Oh yeah. I forgot what her name is too, but she was
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Yeah, I think one of the things I like about this movie too is even though it definitely has its issues.
Evelyn, that's her name.
Yeah, it definitely has its issues. It's nowhere near perfect.
No.
But this feels like it fits in the Conjuring universe.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. I think it does feel like it fits in the Conjuring universe.
It definitely feels like it fits. Now, there are like definitely issues you can have with it where it's like, all right, maybe that would have been better if they would have done it this way or maybe, laid back a little bit on that kind of a theatric. But like it's not that bad. And no, I think it's still believable.
Yeah.
And
it feels like the kind of movie that like I don't know. I feel like it's kind of that like perfect like Halloween movie to just watch. Like I feel like if it's spooky season, you're in the mood for a horror movie. Like I feel like Annabelle's a very easy movie to put on.
Yeah.
It's not like, I don't know. I just feel like it's like a middle of the road kind of horror movie.
Mm-hmm. There were some issues I did have it that were there were theatrics, like for instance the whole radio when the priest has Annabelle in his truck.
Oh yeah,
and it's like,
that's stupid.
Your soul, and then
yeah,
like,
I was gonna mention that.
I want
too.
your soul or something, and then like when he tries to go in the church and he just gets like blown back. It's like, okay, come on now.
That was a little
like, that's
stretch.
Stupid. And then there was a couple other moments too that were like, oh, I think when was it Evelyn that was being dragged? And The Conjuring does the dragging, but it does it well.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I felt like Annabelle did it to where it was a little too like, I don't know if it was like too quick or the way that they did the dragging, like the spirit or the demon dragging the girl. I felt like it was done a little weird in Annabelle, or at least it gave me kind of vibes where it was like, it just felt like it was a little too theatrical. Yeah. So there's like definitely issues.
There's moments.
But I definitely think like creation, the first half is like the best part of the film, and then the movie just kind of starts to like show its issues after the first half. And I like the relationship between the husband and wife in the film. I think that's one of the best parts and the most solid part, even though if the husband is kind of like a cookie board cutout husband, you know, or quote unquote good husband, but it's okay, it doesn't bother you as much.
And that's also what I like about Annabelle 2 is you kind of see, like, again, it's cool because you watch I don't know what movie led into that scene. Remember where you finally see
Creation?
Was it the end of
It was the end of
Creation.
Oh, it was the end of Creation. When they show the murder.
When Annabelle. Yeah, that's what I like about Creation and Annabelle is because the end of the end scenes flow into each other. Specifically, Creation into Annabelle. You see the end of Creation shows the first scene of the Annabelle movie.
Yeah.
So it connects. And you see that, like, Annabelle, quote unquote, Janet, grows up and she's the one that, like, ends up killing her parents because she's part of the cult. She's the one connected to Annabelle, which you see in the Annabelle movie. That murder scene happened. The husband goes over to the neighbor's house and it's connected. They're all connected to each other. So I thought that was cool. Yeah, the priest situation, that's Father Perez. That's who is in La Llorona. Yeah, that was a flaw. Because, like, you know you have a possessed doll, so why are you acting like you don't have a possessed doll? Like, you know, like, whatever. It's just, that's the stuff that I have a problem with. At the end, Evelyn does take the ultimate sacrifice, and she basically commits suicide to save their baby from Annabelle taking it. Because the mom was going to kill herself because she didn't want her daughter to die and get her soul taken. So Evelyn killed herself to basically save their family. Which, I mean, if that's... I'm
surprised they didn't make a universe around, or a movie around Evelyn. Just a cash grab. No, I'm glad they didn't.
No, but like...
I'm glad they didn't. But, like, knowing this universe and how it loves to, like, you know, pull shit out the ass of
that's true.
Like, I'm surprised they didn't,
The
Conjuring, Evelyn's Last
But honestly,
Rites. Some stupid title.
I wish the thing with Evelyn, though, I wish we had more of her, because I wish there was more. I feel like there wasn't enough of a connection.
They set her up as if like it did kind of feel like there was like deleted scenes or something, because like they set her up as this like character that like the movie felt like you should know more about, but then it didn't explain it, so you're just like, because
she did kill herself for them.
Yeah.
And it's like you really didn't see much of her connection with them for her to do that.
You meet her in the beginning, but like you only like actually get to know her like last act of the film or something. So it happens very quickly. Like that's rushed. That's another issue.
Yeah, that was another issue. But I like the idea of her character. I just don't think I like how they did her character.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall I think Annabelle, it's solid. I think it's
it's all right, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just being more strict.
I know.
Because,
I'm trying
because
to.
Once we talk, and we need to. It's
dude.
We're going pretty long, but it's okay.
Okay.
So let's hop. You think is what best movie of all time?
Hell no, not even close. Right, not even one of the best horror movies. But whatever. Like we said, I would watch it again.
Yeah, let's.
I would recommend it. Okay, guys. So the final two is The Conjuring 2. Being in second place, and The Conjuring being in the number 1 spot. We're going to try to hurry this up because we do want to make a separate video on these two movies because there is so much we want to say about them, more than the other movies we had just described. And really go more into detail about what we love, but also things we obviously don't like about them. But The Conjuring 2.
Yeah, Conjuring 2. I don't think this movie's perfect. I think this movie might get... No, I haven't seen everyone's reactions. I think this movie gets a little too much praise from what I've seen, but I haven't seen too many people like overly talk about it. But it's definitely not... I wouldn't label this a bad horror movie. I would actually label it pretty decent. It's just that the thing... Okay, so like...
I think this is a good...
Let's talk about the goods first, because I feel like... Let's talk about the goods. Then we'll talk about the bads.
This is one of the Warrens' most prominent cases. Mm-hmm. They say that. Yeah. Which, again, do your research on the case. We'll talk about more of that in the actual video that we do about these. But this was one of their most prominent cases. Honestly, I think this is one of their most interesting cases that, like, based off the truth.
There's a lot to unpack in this one.
There's a lot to unpack in this one. Going on. Might even be more than the first one. The first one's just so fabricated with what the actual case was that
Well, I think there was a lot going on with the first case, or with the Conjuring 1, but the problem is that, or not the problem, but like the thing with the first one was that there was just one, well, in the movie, it was just Bathsheba like doing everything. Whereas even though there were a lot of spirits, Bathsheba was the cause of it.
She was the main one.
But with this movie, it's like, it's Valak, but it's Valak like speaking through another spirit,
using it,
while there's also other impersonations going on with the Crooked Man. So there's a lot more going on in this movie. Yeah. And then with the whole like law, where like there was issues with like getting the church because they thought that the girl was faking it. So like there was a lot more complications with this movie. Or with this plot.
But I think this movie fits really. I think this is I don't want to say great, but I think this is a really good follow-up to The Conjuring. Again, it goes into about the Enfield case taking place I think in England, if I'm correct. I think the vibe is there. I think the color grading in this movie is phenomenal.
Definitely feels like a Conjuring movie.
Yep. Yeah. It feels like a Conjuring movie, which I like. It definitely had that darker tone. I feel like when I watched this, like growing up or whenever I did, I always remembered it being scarier than the first one. After rewatching it, I don't find it honestly that scary. But I do like the idea of the usage of oh my god, what was the daughter's name? Is it Janet? Is her name Janet too?
It might be Janet, yeah.
Her name's Janet, and so is the chicken Annabelle
Janice.
Creation. Janice, you're right, my bad. I'm getting confused.
But yeah, Janet is...
Yes, Janet is the main little girl in the Enfield, the Conjuring 2. Again, the case is really interesting, but they did have to add the nun in there to kind of tie that all in together, which my opinion on the nun is whatever. I don't like how they associated the nun with this actual real case. But I think the idea of how they had the nun in this movie was really cool about, Lorraine. And, the nun is kind of the whole premise of Lorraine's vision that she had from the Conjuring, from the first Conjuring, which goes back to Maurice, because Maurice/Frenchie, he had the nun attachment in him. That is why Lorraine saw that vision of Ed getting killed. And that's why she kind of never talked about it, and you don't really find out what that vision was until The Conjuring 2. Yeah. I think the full circle moment is really cool. And then kind of seeing how it all connects in this one. Like I said, I think how the nun was shown in this movie was better than the combination of the nun 1 and 2. Sure. It's just creepier, I guess. But here's the thing. The reason it's good is because it fits how they wrote the nun in this movie.
It's just James Wan who wrote
exactly.
it.
James Wan gets the movies. Yeah. And it just fits better than how the nun is I think, is it Michael Chavez that does the other ones?
Might be.
He needs to not ever do movies ever again.
And he's doing the new one.
Oh shit, you're right. Yeah, we're screwed. We are so screwed.
Yeah, well, James Wan co-wrote it, but
okay. So I think that's also why I like the nun more in this one, is because she was shown better. Again, I like the dialogue in this one. I thought it was pretty decent. Like we said, you see the mom kind of actually believe her children. There are times where Ed and Lorraine Warren are skeptical too, because, you know, there's reporters claiming that Janet is lying about it. Which
they focus more on the like getting the church, like getting evidence,
yes,
like for the church to like perform the exorcism in this movie than they do. Well, they do it perfectly in The Conjuring 1, but like there's more of an emphasis on that plot in this movie because again, they think she's faking it.
Yes, they think she's faking it. I think Ed and Lorraine Warren do know in the back of their mind that something is happening, because you do see that
Ed doesn't, but Lorraine kind of does.
Yes, because
but
they never
can't fully conclude because she's being clouded, her vision.
Yes, she can't see. Usually she can sense and see the demon or whatever the heck is in the house, but for whatever reason, she couldn't see anything in her visions or feel anything.
Mm-hmm.
You later find out is because the nun is kind of masking this, because it's not the old man who's technically doing it. He's being controlled by the nun. So she's basically hiding behind this old man, doing and controlling everything. So that's kind of why they don't believe it. But then you start to see that they are unraveling it more, and they obviously find out what's going on. I think the unraveling of it is cool. I think the fact that the old man is not actually truly evil. He was just an old man who missed his family and thought that his family was still there. He was still alive, and he never really moved on. And part of that was because the nun was controlling him and making him do these things. But yeah, I think the vibe is there. Again, there is some theatrics that, you know, are kind of flawed. Like you had mentioned the fire truck scene with the little boy, and the soundtrack, the music kind of like being bum bum bum.
There were like, again, this movie still shares those like cinema sins or whatever, or horror cinema sins you want to call them, where it's like you have the opportunity. Like I think what like I initially thought about this movie was, I think this movie had the most potential to be horrifying.
Yes.
Or the most potential to go in places where it's like this could be truly like terrifying and scary, but they just like didn't. It was almost like they wanted to, but like they like doubted themselves and then like just shot themselves in the foot so many times in this movie. The fire truck scene being like one of them, or the number one. Now of course this movie isn't anywhere near as bad as like some of the other ones we named, but
it's better, way better in my opinion.
But it definitely has its issues. The makeup on Janet was kind of laughable. Like it wasn't.
It was so bad.
Like if they went the Exorcist route where they actually made her look terrifying, this movie would be so much better.
Yep. Or even the first Conjuring with Carol and Perrin, like that was better.
Or even
than,
even like what they did with the makeup in the first Conjuring movie. It's just like there's parts of this movie that kind of feel like cheap, you know. So those were some of the issues. I felt like the Crooked Man, like, I get what they were doing with it, but I feel like there was almost too much going on.
Yes, there was a lot going on in this movie.
Like, it almost felt like Spider-Man 3, like, where, like, you know, in Spider-Man 3 where it was, like, Venom and Sandman. It almost kind of felt like there's, like, too many villains. But I know, like, Valak is the one controlling everything. But still, it kind of felt like there's too much going on. And that's why, like, I think it's like, a decent horror film, but I still wouldn't say it's, like, great or anything. And yeah,
I mean, it's definitely one that I would recommend. Like, I feel like it's a good. Now this one I'll say I think it's solid. Like, I wouldn't give it like 100%, like an A+, but I think I would watch it again. It's not as like great as I thought it was originally, but I think it's still good. Like, they all have problems, but I don't know. And again, there are logic flaws. Like, it's like, again, Ed and Lorraine Warren, you've been doing this for so long. Like, why do you think that, like, it's like they were
kind of makes sense though, but that they didn't believe it. It's because Lorraine's visions
you're right.
were being
I keep forgetting about that. But there were elements that
But you're right. There are still some
that like they like the mom when she was in the basement with Ed and she got the bite mark on her arm and then they literally found teeth in the pool and it's like I think that was even before wasn't that before Janet was like messing around in the kitchen and they caught her on tape?
That might have been before, yeah. Oh yeah, that was before they
yeah,
caught
and it's
her.
like
Yeah.
well like what
well, I guess you could think like maybe she like had the teeth and then
yeah, but come on. How did she get it? It was a whole bite.
Yeah, that's true.
It wasn't
it was a whole bite.
It was a whole bite. It wasn't just like two missing teeth.
The teeth were to like how did I don't want to go too
well,
deep
also,
into
the mom,
it because it
she
will
like
be, yeah.
she
but
slammed into
right,
the water too. Like she could.
Yeah.
It's like some of those things. I'm like, come on, like
yeah,
you know she didn't do that. Like it's like why it just.
But that's okay. So those reasons right there are why I just am I'm too strict with. I'm like so I wouldn't even say like strict because like I just feel like that's just how movies should be rated because I'm so tired. And I know these movies were like before like 2016 when horror movies weren't that bad, but like I just feel like movies now make such easy mistakes that like I just can't keep holding them in a high pedestal and recommending these things because I don't think it's doing justice to the actual horror industry.
Yeah.
When we do get movies that are like near perfect, like Smile that came out, and it's like they do everything that they can in their power to not have logic flaws, to not make issues or cliches and these things, and it's like it's not that hard. These movies need to stop doing it and we need to stop praising them for being that way. So that's why it's like I can't fully say that I'd recommend The Conjuring 2 or I can't fully say that this movie is really good. Although I think it's like it's decent, so it's like that's why I can't fully say those things.
No, I
because then it also holds movies like the first Conjuring on such a higher pedestal, which they should be.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, I'm gonna one last oh, fuck, what was I gonna say now? Wait, what did you just say?
With like holding The Conjuring on a pedestal,
but before that, but you can't like recommend it.
I can't really recommend it because it's got so many simple issues. It's got so many simple logic flaws.
Oh, yeah, okay, I know what I was gonna say.
So many things, yeah.
And I think part of what makes that an even bigger problem is again, they could have done so much better with the writing. Again, this is such like the Conjuring Universe is one of the I'm not saying one of the best, but it's one of the most popular like horror franchises of all time. And you're dealing with real life cases, real life people that are so interesting, like with demons, whether you believe it or not, like the idea is still fascinating. And like again, this is supposed to be like real demon stuff, but like you're making the movies so shit. Like again, I know, and again, that's part of it because Annabelle, even though she exists, none of that lore is really accurate about what she did. The nun especially is probably the worst because she's obviously not real at all. So like that's the stuff that ruins the movies, where I think they could have done something better to make it actually good and scary. Like there's definitely stuff they could have done that to make them better. I don't know. Like I feel like we could write like a movie with involving the Warrens to make it so much better or whatever. But that is our conclusion on Conjuring 2. I think we said enough.
Yep. And then we briefly, because again this video is longer, and we are going to make a separate video on The Conjuring and also horror in general, like good horror movies. But yeah, so then there's The Conjuring, and this is like an entire mountain above all the other ones of how good The Conjuring 1 is.
If you were to combine every other movie, the other 8 movies that we watched, put them together,
and like stack them on each other,
they
still wouldn't be where
their
The Conjuring 1 is.
Rating would still be 5 million miles lower than The Conjuring. Like, now that is a movie that I don't want to say is close to perfection.
It's close. It's close.
It's just or in how, in what sense is it close to perfection?
I still wouldn't call The Conjuring 1 like absolutely perfect.
No.
But it's close.
It's really good.
It's definitely very, and it's effective. It's scary. It's immersive. It's
the acting's great.
You have children actress in that. The makeup, the visuals are terrifying.
I just love that movie. I love
the
it. The makeup.
it basically reinvented the supernatural like
Yes.
horror genre, which that genre has been fucking shooting itself in the foot like maybe ever since. And people forget that too. It's like I don't think we have like kind of like the whole superhero fatigue thing. Is like I don't think we're superhero fatigued. We're just bad movie fatigued. Same thing with the supernatural genre. I don't think we're like fatigued by the supernatural drama
Just how it's done.
genre, but like we're fatigued by how bad and how cliche
and the
those movies have
repetitive
gotten.
of the same ideas.
Yeah, well, cliches and stuff like that. So like, it's just we just need to do more of making original films and things like that. So, but yeah, I think that because this was the first horror movie that got me into horror. Before that, I just didn't watch horror movies, and the movie came out in 2013. I was 13 when I saw it, and just I just remember thinking, wow, like this movie is so fucking good, and it made me study horror ever since then, and still I feel like there really hasn't been many movies that have come to the level of The Conjuring, and it's because of the things we talked about and because of all the elements of like just the writing, the editing, and the just the simple production things of the movie, and the performances, and cinematography, and just how like the props, how things, it's just everything goes so well together to just make this close to a masterpiece of a movie. And I just, yeah, I think I think the reason why I'm not calling it a full-on masterpiece is because although I can't really fully think right now, I think there were like a little bit of like some nitpicks that were like maybe they could have left this out or maybe could have done better. But it's just because everything else, like everything else in the movie is so well done that like you just don't really acknowledge those. You kind of forget about them.
Yeah.
So, and it also ends on like a good note too, and it like teaches you a little bit about like, you know, how you do have power over these evil forces, and you know, and it does it in a well way. It's not cheesy or like forced. Like Annabelle Comes Home felt forced, where it was like it's all about love, it's all about forgiveness. It's like no, it doesn't. You're not earned to say that.
Yeah, there wasn't anything of like any logic in that.
Like yeah, but like in this movie, like it feels earned. It feels like it fits.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if there were any movies really about like an exorcism, or I mean I'm sure there were, but like when going back to like The Exorcist, I feel like that was such like God, I can't even imagine watching that movie like back when it first came out. Like for that, I mean, obviously, like watching it now, the movie is just like it's not made the best. But for a movie that came out in the 70s, like that was great, and especially kind of introducing like that element of horror is so cool. And I don't know if like after that, like I feel like The Conjuring might be one of the like movies since then that kind of like played around with the idea of possession, or at least it was kind of one of the movies that really stood out the most, is because it's about Ed and Lorraine Warren. They're real people who did this for a living, and they're taking one of their most iconic cases and, you know, turning it into a movie. Like
it also does a good job of explaining too to people who don't know what like possession is, and it's just the way the movie is formatted too. It just it makes you understand. It doesn't leave you in the dark. It doesn't like leave everything for interpretation. It explains it well throughout, and you leave the movie and you're like, I understand this film. I understand its theme. I understand why it was made. I understand its purpose and effect. And I was, you know, and I got something to take away, you know, I got something cool to take away from it, or something nice. And it was a well-made and really well-done movie. Just enough said.
And you know? I think again, what's important about movies is making sure that your audience can connect to the characters, because it also then makes you more connected to the story. And I truly can feel like every character I saw on the screen, I felt connected to.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much of like the cop or
Yeah, but you still
but
felt
it's
like they were real
still they were
people, and you still feel
involved.
like you could make a movie about every single one of
And
those
God forbid, at
characters
least there was a
individual.
cop there. Finally, a
Right.
cop is on the scene
Yes,
from the very beginning.
and there's no logic flaws.
Or the
There's
cop
actual,
arriving
yeah,
after everything's
yeah.
happened and,
There's
they
no
finally arrive.
there's no simple logic flaws or anything like that. Everything fits. It feels
Mhm.
like this would happen in real life.
Like, it's natural.
Yeah.
Like, this, again, I'm not a demonologist, but when I look at how demons might act, I feel like this is a very realistic way of the starting positions of demons.
Yeah.
When you smell rotting flesh, rotting eggs, like
Yeah.
they say, rotting flesh, probably not the right word, but like rotting eggs,
Yeah.
that is a sign of
Yeah.
something is in your house.
Yeah.
Same with knocking and
Yeah.
knocking 3 times, the
Yeah.
mocking of the Holy Trinity. That is true.
Yeah.
Like, all these things.
And there were, okay, so like kind of going a little bit, like, there were some logic flaws, but
Well,
that's
yeah.
based on religion. That's based on like religion in general that
Yes,
most people won't
but-
catch on to. But in terms of the movie itself, there really weren't any logic
Yeah,
flaws.
and I really like that. Like, I thought that was so cool. And again, the vibe of, again, the real case is totally different from this, but I'm not talking about that right now. The movie in itself is so well done. I think what they did is so cool. I'm trying to think, like, what else? I don't know. I just love the vibe. I love how gloomy it is. I love the color grading. It's not colorful.
This movie is perfect. Like when there's like when you're having like either people over to watch a horror movie or when it's rainy and you're ordering a pizza.
Yes.
It's like the perfect pizza horror movie.
It is. When it's raining outside, it's cloudy.
Yeah.
Like, it's the perfect, it's the perfect movie for a night like that. And again,
and it's not too dark like Hereditary where it'll make you feel like shit, and it's also not too like you know, what do you call it? It's not like too like bright or something where it's like you weren't scared at all. Yeah. Like it's a good balance of both. Yeah.
It's perfect. Yeah. But yeah, I love the characters. I love, and the bruising with Carolyn, that I feel like that also is kind of an indication of some kind of like possession. Stuff starts happening to the girls first, the pulling of, the leg on the bed. You do see the little girl, she sees Rory and the toy. I don't know, I think the movie's just very well balanced. Like, I wouldn't say there's a lot going on, but if there is, it's really done well. Like, it doesn't feel like it's too much, like it's throwing in your face. It's a very good lead up. And I truly, again, Ed and Lorraine Warren, Vera Farmiga, and Patrick Wilson, like, oh my god, like, they're phenomenal in this movie. I think it is such a good showcase of their characters. And yeah, I just think it's really done well. And what I like about the movie too is you kind of start to think it's gonna like be done at a certain point, but then that's when you actually get into the real possession of Carolyn Perrin. And oh my god, I feel like I could just rewatch that sequence nonstop of when she actually gets truly possessed and they go into the basement and do the exorcism. And then
that's one of the best parts of the movie.
That's one of the best parts of the movie.
I want to dissect more of that when we do our video, but not right now. Yeah.
And I want to say I don't get goosebumps that much when I watch a horror movie, but when you hear Patrick Wilson, Ed Warren shout, "I condemn you back to hell."
Yeah.
Goosebumps. I don't care. That was, oh my god, so good. And then you have Lorraine Warren putting her hand on Carolyn, trying to make her see the good. And the painting of when they're on the beach, like, oh my god, like, it truly is so good. And the makeup, oh my god, the makeup of her is so good too. Like, it's terrifying. And the fact that it goes from a basement to then taking place under the house, like, and like it's just this creepy little small area, and they're all like, oh, it's so good. I don't know what else to say. I just love the movie so much.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, I mean, I think we can end a rating right there. But before we end the video, very quickly, what are your expectations for The Conjuring 4? last rites?
Well, I just found out this actually was not their final case. This was not their last rite. I don't even know what the last rite means. This was just their last prominent case. They did small little things after, which whatever, I'll look past that, but it's just funny that they claim it, whatever.
Yeah.
I truly don't know. I did some research on this case. I feel like from the trailer, they used a lot more of the real footage of the family, like copying the real footage scenes into this. But again, I need to do more research on it. I don't know. It looks very like really just cliche from the trailer. I mean that CGI awful thing that we saw in the poster or something. That was awful. I hope that's not in it.
Nothing of this movie excites me in the slightest.
I just feel like they still haven't learned from their first two. I mean, again, you're not having James Wan direct it and write it, so
you're picking the worst guy to
do it. Like you literally have seen your record of your other movies and how shit they are, but you're gonna continue to pick that director who made the movie shit. So I don't know. I don't really know what my expectations are. I think it'll be better than the third one, but I don't think it's going to be better than the second or the first. I
don't think at all.
It won't. I don't think it'll surpass that, but I think it'll be above in our rankings, above the third one. I don't know if it's going to be better than Annabelle or Annabelle Creation. It might be. I don't know.
No, I don't think it's going to be better than those two either. No.
I might just be...
I think this movie's going to suck. That's like all I have to say. I think it's going to suck. Will I think it's worse than like... Yeah, will it be worse than like The Nun and Nun 2? Probably not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I think it'll be above The Conjuring 3, but below Annabelle and Annabelle Creation, Conjuring 2, Conjuring 1. That's my final thing, but we'll see when we watch it.
Yep. All right. Well, that's about it. That's a long video, but
for now,
we just talked a lot about
we had to
our passion for horror in the film industry, and I think maybe we'll make a separate video on some of these movies in the future, just kind of dissecting them, especially The Conjuring. We're gonna go over that one. We might even just make a full video on that because we'll probably talk about that for a while. Yeah. We can get like a good hour in,
all I know,
maybe like 40 minutes in talking about that movie.
Is I never want to talk about Lala Shitta ever again, or Annabelle fucking comes to their mid-ass home. I never want to talk about that one ever again. Yeah. Those ones can literally rot in hell.
And then we'll definitely make a video on once we see The Conjuring 4. And I think Sean's coming. Yeah, Sean's coming with, so we'll get Sean's opinion and see how he feels and how we all feel. And yeah. So yeah, well, we'll see you in the next video. So, bye.